all time. They stumbled late. LSU and Southern Cal shared the national championship. Their mantra this year is finish. Let me bring in my partner, Gary Reasons. And Gary, Jason White a year ago won the Heisman Trophy. If it's possible, somehow he's fallen under the radar this year until lately.
Well, they talk about finish for OU, and that's what they really want to do. And the good reason for their success this year is Jason White has some help at the running back position. But Jason White has done everything he's needed to do to throw the football and lead this football team. He's not worried about numbers, but I tell you, he's putting up some exceptional numbers. Just last week against Nebraska, you see what he did here. 18 consecutive completions in a row. Jason White distributes the football. He is another one. He's a contender again for the Heisman Trophy, and I think he's a front runner.
And he's got a new best friend from the start of the year, number 28. That's 28 on offense, Adrian Peterson. Now, he was banged up last week with a shoulder injury, only carried the football 15 times. For an update on Mr. Peterson, we go down to the field. John Radigan. John?
All right, Drew, thanks much. They call him AD, Adrian Peterson, AD. That's because his nickname is All Day. His mom says he can play all day. Last week, though, as you mentioned, he didn't. He didn't practice last week either. No contact on any of the practices. No practice on Tuesday. This week, he was back on the practice field taking all the normal repetitions. Adrian Peterson is on the field. I watched him in warm-ups. He was actually catching one-handed passes with that injured left shoulder, so he should be okay. He is expected to play the entire game and get his normal repetitions as needed. Drew, back upstairs to you.
Well, Baylor, I don't think John wanted to hear that. A healthy Adrian Peterson. The Baylor Bears pulled up one of the great upsets in college football this year 3 weeks ago when they knocked off Texas A&M. Today, if they're to get it done, they need great play from a redshirt freshman quarterback, Terrence Parks. He's a good athlete.
Well, this is just going to be his first start of his college season. Came in and played last week. Had a pretty good football game. He's got tools. He's got size. He's got mobility. Going to see if he's got everything it takes to go against his number 2 OU football team. It's not going to be easy.
It'll be a tall order this afternoon for the Baylor Bears. And look who else is healthy. Antonio Perkins, one of the great return men and cornerbacks in college football. That's Maurice Lane. He's one of the leading tacklers for Baylor. When we return, we'll join Mike Goldberg, Kellen Winslow, and Billy Ray Smith in our College Football Saturday studio. You're watching Big 12 football presented by Kyocera on FSN.
You're watching FSN Southwest.
Nearing the kickoff in the Big 12 Conference, number 2 Oklahoma. Jason White, Adrian Peterson, and the men at the Baylor Bears. Welcome inside our college football studios in Los Angeles. Alongside the Hall of Famers Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith, I'm Mike Goldberg. On the docket in the Big 12, remember in the kickoff show, we told you a bit about Iowa State and Kansas State. For those of you viewers who have DirecTV, you will have access to Iowa State and Kansas State. Kansas and Missouri, also a great rivalry game on the docket in the Big 12 Conference today. But Hall of Famers, let's talk about our game. Number 2, Oklahoma and Baylor. And Kellen, a little no-name defensive succse for once in Norman, Oklahoma.
When you think about linebackers at Oklahoma, you can just list off the names of great linebackers they had. This year, we were talking about the other day, we go, who's the linebacker this year? Well, it's Gayron Allen. He is the senior at 5'10", 220 pounds. A big day last week against Nebraska. He was all over the field. He's a smart player, an instinctive player, and has the ability to get to the outside. Again, not the big name that we're used to at Oklahoma BR, but effective, and sometimes that's even better than having the stars.
Other side of the football, on the OU offense, the big names are Jason White and Adrian Peterson, the wide receivers. Great talents, but they rarely talk about the tight ends. I think we'll start talking about the tight ends today. Willie Roberts getting a lot more action. He's going to be a big part of the protection package. And as a matter of fact, 6'7". Man, I tell you got to work him into the package, and he's got to help block out that Baylor Bear blitz.
This is a special day. You talk about a linebacker, you talk about a tight end.
We can all get along.
Oh, my goodness. We'll see you back here on the Cialis Halftime Report. Game breaks throughout our rivalry Saturday. We've got a great one. We have number 2 Oklahoma in action again on the road. Drew Goodman, Gary Reasons are set for the call. Do Jason White or Adrian Peterson explode closer to that Heisman podium right here on FSN in a matter of moments? The kickoff, number 2 Oklahoma and Baylor, is coming up next on FSN.
Waco, Texas, and Floyd Casey Stadium. We're about set to go. Number 2 Oklahoma, 10-0 against the Baylor Bears, who come in 3 up and 7 down. And let's get it down to the field. John Radigan with the head coach of the Baylor Bears, Guy Morris. John?
Guy Morris joining us now. And, Coach, obviously this is a tall order. How do your kids feel? Are they pretty pumped up about this one?
Yeah, I think so. I just left them in the locker room, just told them, men, let's lay it on the line. You got nothing to lose. Let's just play all-out football and see what happens.
Yeah, this is one of those true shock-the-world opportunities for you.
Absolutely. What a great day.
We appreciate it, Coach, very much. Good luck. We are, too. That is Guy Morris. They're going to try to shock the world, guys. Back to you.
All right, John, thank you. Guy Morris, he played in a number of big games, long-time NFLer. And there is Bob Stoops, 64-11. That is ridiculously good in his 5+ years now in Norman, Oklahoma. Well, we had rain in the forecast, but you know what? It couldn't be any nicer out. It's in the mid-60s right now, Gary Reasons.
Yeah, walking out there on the field, it was very pleasant out there. Had a chance to talk to both coaches before the game, and very pleasant out there.
Well, these two schools have matched up 13 times, dating back to 1901. And as you can see, Baylor has never had a smile on their collective faces when they've walked off the field. But they have some confidence. They knocked off a heavyweight, 16th ranked Texas A&M 3 weeks ago, 35-34. Oklahoma won the toss. They deferred to the second half. So Trey DiCarlo will kick it deep to either Willie Andrews, 18, or Sean Rashawn, number 4. The Sooners trying to go unblemished for the 19th time in the regular season in school history. And DiCarlo will kick it into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback ball at the 20-yard line for the Baylor Bears. The Kyocera starters led by redshirt freshman quarterback Terrence Parks from Lufkin, Texas. Now, Lufkin, Texas had quite a football team a couple of years ago. This kid was a wide receiver till his junior year. He used to catch passes from Reggie McNeil. If that name sounds familiar, well, it should.
Really so. Earlier in the season, Terrence Parks actually lined up at wide receiver and played some receiver here, but now, because of injuries, forced to play quarterback perhaps a little earlier than Guy Morris would have liked.
McNeil, of course, the terrific quarterback for the Aggies. And they hand it to Mosley, and he'll get 6 yards on first down. That's Paul Mosley. And let's take a look at the big fellas up front on the offensive line for Baylor. Joe DeWood, he's a steady player. He's played a lot of football. Quentin Outland has been at left tackle for a while as well for Baylor. They'll have their hands full against a defensive unit that's produced 29 sacks. Mosley gets the start. His first career start at tailback. Anthony Craig is hurt. And Dominique Ziegler, their leading receiver, along with 4 others, have been suspended for today's game. More on that as the afternoon develops. And this pass just thrown away on 2nd and 4. It'll be 3rd and 4 for Baylor. Let's take a look at the defensive starters, also brought to you by Kyocera for the Oklahoma Sooners. And defensively, they're the number 23 team in the nation. Cody has 8 sacks, and on the other end, Jackson has 6. Lance Mitchell will come up and sock you from the Mike linebacker position. It's a very good secondary led by Poole and Nicholson, the 2 safeties. Trips to the near side, 3rd and 4. They go draw, and stopped short of the first down is Paul Mosley. Jonathan Jackson closed it down quickly.
You know, Drew, we talked to Guy Morris actually before the football game. I said, Coach, you're going to pull out all the stops, pull any rabbits out of your head. He says, you know, we don't do that very well with our football team. We're going to be a little more conservative than most people would think. And you see they're on 3rd and 4. They go in the shotgun formation, handoff, try to get the first down via the running game. They know they're going against a very talented Oklahoma defense. And one thing that Baylor does do very well, and that's special teams. You've got Daniel Sepulveda, great punter, got a great ability. Punting the football. They want to flip the field if they can to gain field position. They think that's something they can accomplish here.
It's not Perkins back, it's Clayton at his own 30-yard line. And Sepulveda kicks it with 1 hop out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Not his best effort, just a punt of 31 yards. And as Gary was telling you, he's one of the better punters in college football. Here's one of the better players in college football. Jason White, reigning Heisman Trophy winner. He has thrown at least 3 touchdowns in 5 straight games. As a starter, he's 25-3. And the difference this year for Jason White, Gary, is his knees are healthier. He's got some mobility.
Great mobility. He's done a good job running around when needed to. Got it, bought himself in time. We're going to watch him today as he may become the all-time leading OU passer if he gets a couple hundred yards or so.
Here's the lead to Peterson, and he'll get 5 yards on first down. Right behind J.D. Runnels. And here's the terrific offensive line. Maybe the best group Bob Stoops has had as a whole. Vince Carter's from right here in Waco, Texas. Jamal Brown, one of the best tackles in college football. And the skill guys, Clayton is unbelievable. Travis Wilson, a big target. Good tight end, and James Moses. Toss sweep to Peterson. And he cuts it back, lowers the pad level, and he'll have a first down out to the 48-yard line. Finally dropped by Maurice Lane, the free safety. And let's take a look at the Bears on defense. Up front, Kari Long's a good end along with Montez Murphy. They are beat up at the defensive tackle spot. Justin Crooks played a lot of football. He's a good one. And then the 5 in the secondary led by Lane and Willie Andrews, the 2 safeties. White to throw for the first time. He's got a deep ball, and it's, well, you know what? He threw the post, and his receiver, Bradley, ran a corner route.
Well, when you're able to have a running game with a running back there like Adrian Peterson, the play-action passing game works. You get in the I formation, let Jason White try to throw the ball down the field. That's not a bad situation. But for OU to be successful, they just got to have that double dose of running and passing they've had all year long. I think keep it sharp. Be crisp, start fast. Bob Stoops knows that he's got to have his football team play well and play with style. And he understands what's at stake for him here in the next couple of weeks. They need to win big. They need to win convincingly, because there's a lot of people watching OU right now to see how they're going to handle themselves over the next couple of weeks.
Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down, and White got knocked down. Willie Roberts was the intended target.
Well, Jason White distributes the ball very well. He's got a good delivery in the shotgun here, throws it out to his left, but he's got pressure immediately in his face, and ball a little bit high thrown to Bubba Moses, a big tight end. Now, last year when Baylor played this football team, they actually sacked OU's quarterback Jason White 4 times in that game, had a lot of pressures on him. They knew they were going to bring a different blitz package this week, and the OU coaches told us, hey, we're going to be prepared for it, but there was a clean hit on Jason White. Very few times he's been hit this season.
That's Moses, actually, not Willie Roberts, the intended target. They bring 5. White steps up, and it's just a little bit too tall for Mark Bradley. So Baylor, with an array of blitz packages, affects White a little bit, and Oklahoma will have to punt the football.
Well, a new defensive coordinator now this year for Baylor. That's Bill Bradley. He's an NFL guy, brought in some different blitz packages, and you see Jason White, a couple of throws there under duress. I think that ball should have been caught by Mark Bradley. It was there, a chance for the first down. A lot of OU fans here had a lot of noise. Traveled a lot of folks down here for this football game against Baylor.
Blake Ferguson will punt it. Willie Andrews back at his own 12. Will try to get to the wall. He will not. Dropped at the 17-yard line, punt of 37. A minimal return. Baylor will have it for the 2nd time. When we come back to Waco, no score. Baylor with the football for the 2nd time, backed up at their own 17-yard line. And they'll hand it to Mosley, and he runs into Dan Cody, and that's that. The senior from Ada, Oklahoma. Stops him in the backfield, maybe a loss of a half a yard.
Well, Drew, for the Baylor Bears, today they need to be almost perfect. They have no margin for error. They cannot turn the football over, and I think they need to play opportunistic, make plays in the special teams area, get some turnovers, and I think the special teams going to be a factor for them. OU has had some problems in the last few weeks in their special teams game, none last week against Nebraska, but I think the Guy Morris would like to have his special teams unit perform well today.
They have a screen set up, and the ball's on the ground. And Oklahoma has the football at the 17-yard line. They ran a screen, and the Baylor Bears put it on the ground. Larry Burdine fell on the football. And for Baylor, they came in -14. Now they're -15.
Larry Burdine actually makes the tackle and strips the ball out. Don't know who comes up with it here for OU. Good job of going to the football. Larry Burdine, the defensive tackle, takes a pretty good pop there by Burdine, and The ball comes out. OU is now knocking on the door. 17-yard line.
Jonathan Golden coughs it up. White with Peterson next to him. Trips to the top. Underneath handoff. Peterson. Pretty good open field tackle by Maurice Linguist. Sophomore from Mesquite, Texas.
Adrian Peterson talked about him and his ability. He's an upright runner. He's got good body length. He's powerful. Surprising here that he doesn't take on Linguist here, but good job of making a tackle in the open field. He's got enough ability to make those jump moves. Some tailbacks that are that size can't do that, Drew, but I think that Adrian Peterson has some of that rare ability, and when he goes downhill, though, he likes to lower his shoulder a little bit. He's an old-time running back, old-fashioned.
215 pounds. Not an 18-year-old running around 215 with his kind of ability. 6 coming. White steps up, throws high again for Bradley. Pretty good coverage by Anthony Arline. And Gary, he's a good-sized corner, Arline.
Well, Anthony Arline is one that's going to line up against these guys and be a factor out there because his size, he's 6'2", 195 pounds. Just a sophomore, doesn't have a lot of experience playing that position, but line up against this very confident wide receiver football team for OU. It's a pretty good matchup. Jason White had pressure on him here all day. Justin Crooks gets a hit on him here as well. 3 times now, Jason White early in this football game has been knocked down by this Baylor Bear defense.
White is 0 for 4 in the early going. It's 3rd down and 11. Baylor is blitzed virtually every play. This time they bring 4. They drop in coverage. End zone shot, complete, touchdown. Touchdown to the touchdown maker, Mark Clayton. 6th time he's been in the end zone this year.
Great route by Mark Clayton and also a great throw by Jason White. Jason White in the pocket back there. Going to find his #1 go-to guy, Clayton. Watch the touch pass over the top to the outside. He's the only one that can catch that football. It's away from the defensive back. Maurice Lane in coverage there on the play, not able to even get close to Mark Clayton.
.206 career catches for Mark Clayton. Trey Carlo. Behind is trying to make it 7-0. And he does so. So the first completion of the game for Jason White is a touchdown. 29 touchdowns, just 4 picks this year for White. And OU's on top 7-0. Jason White and Mark Clayton hooking up. They've done that a few times the last couple of years. So after the turnover, 3 plays, 17 yards, and the Sooners lead the Baylor Bears 7-0 with 10:33 to go in the opening quarter. Clayton a year ago, first-team All-American, 15 touchdowns.
Drew, I talked about OU starting fast, and that's exactly what they've done here. On the turnover, caused fumble, recovered by OU. They put points on the board. That's what you want to do in those situations.
Our college football Saturday triple header continues later on this evening. A showdown between 2 bitter Pac-10 rivals. The big game, Stanford against 4th-ranked Cal. And in-state bragging rights on the line. Oregon battles Oregon State in the Civil War. It all begins after our game, only on FSN. Check local listings for the games and start times in your area. And they give it off inside. Not much. Brodney Poole right around the line of scrimmage. Made the tackle almost immediately on Paul Mosley. Let's go back and check out that throw to Clayton again.
Well, Jason White talked about his accuracy as a quarterback throwing the football. Nothing more accurate than this kind of a throw to the back corner of the end zone. And Mark Clayton, you see the trajectory on the football, and it's just placed exceptionally well here for Clayton to go kick the football. The defender is inside, and good throw and catch. Drew, you talked about these 2 tag teaming for a long time, making play after play for these Sooners, and they just have a great chemistry together.
And a quick pop pass almost out to the 27-yard line. It's complete to Marcus Roberts, tackled by Rufus Alexander. bring up third down and manageable, third down and 3 or 4.
And I think Roberts is going to have a pretty big ball game with Dominique Ziegler, the #1 receiver, out of the football game. We talked about that early, and I think that's a big factor here. So you've got some inexperienced receivers out there. Sean Rashawn, #4, is a starter here for Baylor to wide receiver position. So Terrence Parks actually didn't have a lot of experience himself trying to get things going here for Baylor offensively.
Makes a good throw, and he gets a first down out to Jay Fields, junior from Amarillo. And that will help with the confidence for Parks.
Well, just take what the defense gives you, and that's exactly what Terrence Parks finds here. You got the slot receiver. He's going to work to the outside, throw and catch, get behind the sticks. That's what they do, and defense coming over making the play, and that's a good job here by Baylor. Good protection up front. Terrence Parks just throws in rhythm, gets it out there to Fields, and that's exactly what you need to do with this offense. And playing here at home, you get this crowd in this football game, you have any chance against this Sooner football team.
I'll tell you what, I look across the way, though, Gary, I feel like we're at open field.
There's a lot of crimson shirts over there, that's for sure.
Parks flushed. Now will throw late. And Fields couldn't hang on to that one. He probably would have been out of bounds anyhow.
Well, this front four here for Oklahoma has been exceptional all year. It all starts with Dan Cody, #90 at the top of the screen. You'll see him, #80. Pressure in the front there for Terrence Parks, and the throw on the side, and a little bit high and out of the reach of Fields again.
Guy Morris and his staff, they were impressed with how poised Parks was last week when he came in after Sean Bell went down with the broken left hand. Again, Mosley.
I think they're going to have to get some running game going, and the big fella Mosley, Paul Mosley, he's 6'3", 230 pounds himself. He's one of those downhill type runners, and he's a big banger between the tackles. You see the zone read play that a lot of teams run in college football. Reggie McNeil, Texas A&M, Vincent Young down at Texas. They talked about him being able to be that type of a quarterback. Terrence Parks, he's got the size, and so he's got good mobility. So the shotgun play, the zone read play, which is what they're lined up in right here, is something I'm talking about.
They need the 44-yard line on third down. Parks has a man, complete first down yardage, just shy of midfield. It's Roberts again. On senior day, Marcus Roberts, one of 19 seniors playing their final game for the Baylor Bears.
Well, the Sooners are trying to get some pressure from the backside. Dante Nicholson, the safety, and a blitz on the outside, and cannot get there in time. Good throw and catch here outside. Marcus Roberts, I talked about him. You know, the senior wide receiver needs to come up big in his football game, especially with Ziegler out.
Saw the arm strength there for Parks. He can make all the throws. Again, zone read. And again, they give to Paul Mosley. It's tough running inside with Pendleton and Magruder and Cody and Jackson on the end. They'll rotate 7 or 8 in there.
OU has depth on defense. They've got ability. They've got size. And the thing that they play with more than anything with their defensive personnel is speed, and that's what they've brought there. Brent Venables, both wing, the co-coordinators, they work with guys, try to get them in their positions and utilize their speed and strength. And Brewer up front, #96, had a heck of a game last week against Nebraska.
7th play of this drive. 49 of OU. Post drop man out there. Oh, what a catch at the 18-yard line by Roberts. A one-handed snag. He looked like Ozzie Smith.
Well, it's senior day here at Baylor. All the families are here, and I tell you, this young man, Marcus Roberts, a senior, his family was down on the field before the game with him, and this is one for the memories. It's a heck of a catch here. Terrence Parks, a good strike and a good throw. Look at this catch. One hand pulls it out of the sky. Great coverage here in the secondary by the Sooners, but Terrence Parks throws it down and says, hey, I got a player I can play with down there. That's a great catch. Let's go thank Marcus Roberts. That's a heck of a play.
Third catch of the ball game for Roberts. 1st and 10 from the OU 18 for the Baylor Bears. Mosley departs in motion. And going down in the arms of Larry Burdine. He's been a factor already in this first quarter. Forced fumble and now a sack for the sophomore from Lawton, Oklahoma.
Well, just too much time in the pocket there. The protection broke down for the Bears, and Terrence Parks didn't have anywhere to go to throw the football. Now, if he was more of a seasoned quarterback and understood the timing, there's a little clock in your head that has to go off, knowing when that rush is going to get there. Terrence Parks, just had to pull the ball down. Good job by Burdine of continuing to the quarterback and getting the sack.
A loss of 6. 6. 6
2
in trouble from behind, and he's lucky he didn't lose the football. That was Jonathan Jackson, his 7th sack of the year. 31 sacks now for the Oklahoma Sooners. That leads the Big 12 by a bunch.
Well, good coaching is what this is all about. Jonathan Jackson goes up to the level of the quarterback, and they talk about him go ahead and retrace. You're going to have him come up here and then watch him retrace back to get the sack. Jonathan Jackson gets to the level of the quarterback, then he comes back to get the sack. Quarterback comes out of the pocket, and Jonathan Jackson does exactly what he needs to make that play.
Big man he's taken down also, Gary. Parks about 245. Third down and a whole bunch, 21. They set up rocket screen, and it's incomplete.
Pass intended for Braylon Davis.
That's Braylon Davis playing a little both ways today. Davis starting cornerback there on that offensive series. So we will see Kenny Webb.
Yeah, and Sepulveda is the holder here. Quarterback Sean Bell, who broke his hand, he talked about not able to play in this football game, and Sepulveda, the punter, is actually the holder now.
Longest is 45 this year. This will be from 47. That's not going to get there. There's not much wind on the field. He just didn't hit it well. So Baylor threatens, but they come up empty. 7-0 Sooners.
Bears ball, 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. Sean Bell alone in the backfield, takes the snap, rolls right, throws for the end zone, caught by Ziegler, touchdown! Sean Bell in the shotgun, here's the ball game. 34-33, A&M in overtime, Bears going for 2. 3 receivers left, 2 right. Sean Bell has the snap, looking. Touchdown!
Hey, I don't think the Baylor radio crew is excited after that one. 35-34 for Guy Morris's team. Gutsy call first overtime. He says, we're going to try to win it right here. He said, we're a tired bunch. They did. A year ago, Gary, as you're aware, they lost 73-10 to the Aggies.
That's a huge win for this football team, and I tell you, that's one of those things that you build with, and Guy Morris knows that. Hoping to get some production similar to that against Oklahoma, but there, what happened to the football team?
Peterson dragged the student body about 10 or 11 yards.
Well, you got that offensive line up there. I talked about that for the pass protection for Jason White while they do a great job running. I think this is the biggest transition that Bob Stoops has had with his football team, being able to run here. You see the blocking here and outside. That's your fullback, J.D. Runnels, who has a knockdown there on the play. And Adrian Peterson has benefited from great blocking. Jamal Brown, number 55, one of the biggest and best athletes in college football at the offensive line position. This is a good group up here, and they've been predominantly a passing team over the past couple of years, but with Adrian White, they have changed gears. They can run the football too.
Oh, Peterson cuts it back. He steps out of the tackle, and he gets it to the 37-yard line of Baylor. So the first significant run of the day for Adrian Peterson. For a Dr. Pepper game break, let's check in with Mike Goldberg in Los Angeles.
Drew, the Canes are scoring early and often. Number 12, Miami hosting Wake Forest. Frank Gore coming off a career-high 195-yard performance. He's found the end zone. And remember, the ACC title is in the hands of the Canes. They host Virginia Tech in a couple of weeks, guys.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Oklahoma in Waco, Texas right now, the 7-0 lead, and they're on the move again. 2 tight ends. And Kewan Jones with his first carry. And he'll dance into the secondary for 9 or 10. Kewan Jones, a junior from Jenks High School in Tulsa.
Well, good 1-2 punch here. Kewan Jones coming in for a winded little bit to Adrian Peterson. Just a draw play inside here. And J.D. Runnels comes in and blocks and seals. And that's what you need from your big fullback. And he's done a great job for this team for the past 4 years. He's a heck of a football player. Just the last 3 years, J.D.'s a junior with 38 at fullback. And Jones and Peterson both doing a great job of running the football for this Sooner football team.
2nd and short. Maybe Oklahoma will take a shot here. 7 coming. Man-to-man coverage, and it's a little bit too tall for Travis Wilson. Well, they did take a shot. They call it zero coverage when you leave your corners on an island. That was a situation there, and Baylor's going to take chances, won't they, today, Gary?
Well, Kyle Seals did a good job getting back in the secondary and the coverage there, and they're going to have to take some chances. They got to put pressure on that quarterback, so that means hang those defensive backs out there in one-on-one coverage, and they just got to compete and play. Good job that time in the secondary, had good coverage. Jason White tried to throw it up with Travis Wilson to make the play, but the ball sailed a little bit too high.
Peterson back in there, 3rd and short, and they run power. I don't know, Peterson backed up. I don't know if he got there. The ball also came out late. They're going to say it was down. Willie Andrews had the football. He's running off the field. They're going to give the football back to Oklahoma. I don't know if he got it, though.
Well, the line judge on the near side, he came out and spotted the football very well, and Adrian Peterson trying to get in behind Jamal Brown, number 75, who comes across, 55, and kicks it out. And
you know what? That ball's out. That ball's out. That was ripped away by Andrews. That was a great shot of it.
Yeah, they spotted the ball. They're going to measure here for the first down. Might be just a little bit short. About a foot or so. It's going to be fourth and 1. Now, Trey DiCarlo's been anything but perfect here for Oklahoma, so I expected Bob Stoops to go for it here on 4th down and get that big offensive line to go with it. Let's take a look here and see where the ball is. Ball being stripped out. I can't see it here on my. There it is. It's right there. You'll see it. But the knee is down, so I tell you, that's a tough call.
Yeah, it's tough. It was close. It looked like the knee wasn't quite down. 4th down and short. Runnels and Peterson behind White. And the first down for Adrian Peterson to the 24-yard line. Kari Long will get credit for the tackle to move the chains for Oklahoma. 3:30 to go in the opening quarter. The Sooners leading 7-0.
Well, here's what Bob Stoops does. He and Chuck Long, the offensive co-offensive coordinator, he and Coach Wilson, they bring in different groupings of personnel. That was a big heavy set there, trying to get 1st down and run the football. Now they got their 1st and 10 situation here. 3 wide receivers in the game in the shotgun.
Peterson trying to cut it back, and this is well defended. Kari Long came off a block.
A lot of players, teams run this zone read, and Jason White runs it back there, but he's not really a threat to run that football. That was a time where he handed off to Adrian Peterson, and the defense completely collapsed to one side, which is why AD decided to cut that ball back, but nothing there. Good job by the Baylor defense up front. They've been porous this year, Drew, defensively against the run. Had some big games against them, 300-plus yards rushing against them, so the Sooners think they can get something done running the ball.
3 times this year, Baylor's given up 300 on the ground. White was trying to set up a screen. He wasn't there. And the first flag of the ball game comes in. They may get a lineman downfield. You know, that usually happens when you have a screen that gets aborted.
Yeah, the timing is off. You get your running back knocked down or not able to get out there in the route. And they had Adrian Peterson in there. He's only caught 3 balls this year. Haven't got the ball to him very much, but that's one of the things they want to expand his package on and be able to catch that ball out of the backfield.
Ineligible downfield, number 50, Oklahoma. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
Vince Carter, their outstanding center. John Laurie, our referee this day. It'll be 3rd down and 11 yards to go. Oklahoma 1 for 3 on 3rd down conversions early in this game. They need the 14-yard line here. They'll send Clayton along with Wilson to the top. Moses in motion. Kewan Jones in the game. White throws backside into double coverage, and Clayton bracketed by Braylon Davis and C.J. Wilson. So they keep mixing up those defenses. It'll be 4th down.
You talked about the bracket coverage. That's what actually comes up here. You see Clayton going to work to the corner, and he just comes off of Travis Wilson. That's because he sees the football thrown. Jason White under duress, having to throw the ball back there. It was man coverage, but wound up being double coverage because he saw the flight of the ball. And bring on Trey DiCarlo. Look at his numbers on the year. Not perfect for this young man. He's had some troubles of late. Just 8 of 15 on the season.
And he was terrific the last 2 years. He's had a subpar junior year. This will be 42 yards away. And he misses it. So Trey DeCarlo just 8 of 16 in the field goal department this year. And outside of 30 yards, he is now 2 for 10. That's not good.
No, it's not good. You want to be able to have confidence in your kicker when you put him out there to make these. Take the snap, the hold, it's down. He's pushing it that upright, but it just stays outside, doesn't come back in. Not really even close to that one.
Well, it's time for our poll question, brought to you by FoxSports.com on MSN. What's your favorite rivalry game this weekend? Is it Auburn, Alabama? BYU, Utah is one of those rivalries not a lot of people talk about in the East, but it's huge and never bigger than today. Nice little run here by Jonathan Evans, the fullback. Guys bouncing off him like he's a pinball. 250-pound senior from Duncanville, Texas, an advance of 16.
Well, when we talked to the Baylor coaches, they talked about changing up here, getting some screens to work for their offense. And offensive coordinator Brent Peace calls one here to his big fullback Evans, who gets out and actually runs right over one of the OU defenders who come up, try to make a tackle on him. Hey, play physical football, get first downs with those screen passes. Those are easy plays to complete here for this offense.
Two tight ends. Mosley, the ace back, gets the call. And he had a little bit of room before he ran into Lance Mitchell. Late stages of the first quarter. Oklahoma leading 7-0. Drew Goodman, Gary Reasons, and John Radigan. First Down Line is brought to you by Overstock.com, your online outlet. It's all about the O. Here's it naked. It's complete for a few yards. Minimal gain to Mike Miller. He took a pretty good shot from Brodney Poole, who will deliver blow, the junior free safety.
And he's really come on this year. Brodney Poole is a very explosive player in the secondary, plays around the line of scrimmage, comes downhill to make this tackle on Miller. Good strike, good tackle, and Brodney Poole's had an exceptional year for this defense. See his numbers on the year, pretty impressive for Brodney Poole, and doing a good job out there. Plays with patience. That's the thing you have to do as a safety. Understand, read the play, and then come down, and when you get there, finish the play. And he certainly does that, making a lot of tackles here.
Third down upcoming with 44 seconds left in the first quarter. Baylor will talk it over. Well, tomorrow, a full day of football begins with America's #1 pregame show as Howie names his top 10 defensive players in the league. Plus, Falcons coach Jim Mora goes 10 yards with TB. That's Fox NFL Sunday. At noon in the East, 9 out West, only on Fox. Let me ask you about Terrence Parks. Here's a kid that's quiet by nature. Playing some receivers. You talked about the first 9-10 games of the season. Last week he comes in the second quarter, really unfazed, and today he's done a nice job. He obviously doesn't have a school in the end zone yet, but he's handling things.
What we talked to their coaches about, what are they going to do with their offense? Are they going to give it all to him? That means let him have the full playbook. But they decided, hey, we're going to shorten the playbook, get some plays that we know that he's going to feel comfortable back there, throwing the ball, handing the ball, let him run. The problem is they don't want to run him too much, because if he takes a shot, they'd go back to a player who's injured and who may actually have to come in and play, and they don't want to go that route.
We talked to Guy Morris yesterday about the suspension of his leading receiver, Dominique Ziegler, and 4 others.
There is never a good time for disciplinary action. Certainly not before a game of this magnitude with the type of football program that Oklahoma is. We need every hand we can get, to have a chance. But if you don't have discipline in your program, I don't care what sport it is or what level you play at, that's the commonality of athletics, I think, is you got to have team discipline.
Well, Bob Stoops did the same thing with a great player in Dusty Dvoracek. Senior defensive lineman had an off-the-field altercation, and Stoops suspended him from the football team.
And I think it's a credit to these two coaches for the things that they do. That creates credibility with your players, and you understand as a player that you have to adhere to a certain code of conduct.
They had a screen set up. It was there, but it was dropped by Sean Rashawn.
Well, the reason that thing kind of blew up was Dan Cody came like a man on fire towards that quarterback. It was a screen, but the timing was actually all disrupted by Cody, who came from the outside. And when you take Dan Cody from an up position, let him rush the quarterback, he actually hits him, knocks his helmet off, and pretty good pop there on that quarterback.
Daniel Sepulveda will punt the football. Mark Clayton at his own 25-yard line. Sepulveda's a great story. Talk about him being a Ray Guy semifinalist. This kid was a walk-on linebacker. He had never punted before. He never punted in high school, in fact. And this one angles out at the 1-yard line. Oh.
Wow. That thing went right over that post. I tell you, that was a tough call by that line judge.
He was right on top of it.
From this angle up here, I'm telling you, it looked like it was right out. Bob Stoops is like, what happened? Take a look here. Daniel Sepulveda, the ball goes, and you see Clayton come up and try and defend the coverage guy off so he doesn't go to the football. Watch the angle of it here. It goes right over the post, which actually is part of the end line. So if it is over the post, that would be in the end zone, so probably a good call there by the official.
That goes a 53-yard punt. Sepulveda was looking for a 52-yard punt.
52.77 or whatever it is there. You just a little bit short.
30 seconds to go in the first quarter. Here's a delay to Kewan Jones. Check it. That's Adrian Peterson. Man, that's a pickup of 20.
Well, it's
How
now,
does a guy that big?
Well, it's now you see
quick?
me, now you don't. Take a look here. There he is. The linebacker's going around, and he goes, no, I'm going the other way. And then the spin move. He did this in a big ball game against Oklahoma State where he had an 80-yard touchdown run, and blocking is exceptional here. You see Vince Carter, number 50, the center, going off getting one. Now he gets two. Justin Crooks runs himself out of the play. He runs to the weak side. Then Adrian Peterson showing that spin move. He's worked that to perfection a couple of times this season, and a big play here against the Bears.
9 carries, 67 yards already for Peterson. And that'll be all for the first quarter. Oklahoma took advantage of a Baylor turnover. They have a 7-0 lead. One chapter closed in Waco, Texas. You're watching College Football Saturday, presented by Kyocera on FSN. The Oklahoma Sooners have won 22 consecutive regular season games. Of course, last year they were poised perhaps to win a national championship. They stumbled in the Big 12 title game against Kansas State, losing 35-7, then lost to LSU in the Sugar Bowl 21-14. They feel they have unfinished business this year. They are 10-0, and they have a 7-0 lead here as we begin the second quarter. Peterson down at the 45-yard line. He started high step, and he almost broke it into the secondary. Let's check in again with John Radigan. John?
All right, Drew, I'm over here with the Baylor line. These guys are obviously very enthusiastic. They can also be caustic. Check out their prediction for the Orange Bowl on January the 4th. And they're also very smart, because they knew if they put my name on a banner and said they love me, they'd get on TV. Drew, back upstairs to you.
They are very astute here at Baylor. John, actually, truth be told, Gary and I painted that about 11 o'clock this morning. Peterson didn't find any room that time. A host of green shirts. Justin Crooks around the football, as he typically is, the senior from Round Rock, Texas. He's had a great career here.
Yeah, good scrape linebacker. Watch this play. Good movement. Gets inside the lineman, Jamal Brown. Misses the block there, and good job of getting to Peterson and making a good low, sure tackle on him. You got to have players like that in your program. They just produce year after year, and Justin Crooks has done that here for Baylor.
A 3-year starter, second this year in tackles. Finance major. Third down. 8 yards to go for Oklahoma. Baylor brings 3. They drop 8. White is dropped by Kari Long, who's probably the best pass rusher of the front four, and they brought 3 and they got there.
Well, this really shouldn't happen because they've actually got 2 players over there. Jason White changed the protection here to keep his tight end in the block and didn't help himself out there on the outside. Got pressure on the outside. Take a look at the top of the left side of your screen. You see Bubba Moses get there, and Kari Long is just going to continue to the quarterback, and Jason White steps up, and there's 2 guys blocking him, but pressure is there, and he throws the ball and just happens to hit Davin Joseph there, and that's going to be the penalty. But good job by the Baylor defense to pressure. Good coverage in the secondary and not allowing Jason White to throw the football.
So Ferguson will punt it. Willie Andrews averaging better than 11 yards a return. Pretty good number. He's back around his own 15-yard line. And Andrews across the 30, the 31-yard line. So Baylor will have decent field position.
Yeah, there's a flag here at the line of scrimmage. The line judge on the near side threw the flag, and
6 men on the line of scrimmage. 44 was not on the line.
I think they'll probably decline this. The Bears will, and probably take the ball. Now, Jason White, he's had a tough day today because Bill Bradley, the defense coordinator for Baylor, they've done a good job pressuring that quarterback. A little blitz package and get him hit there. Justin Crooks hitting him, and now the defense, Jason White's kind of been on his backside more times than he has in a lot of games this season. So a lot of pressure here by Baylor early. Not very settling here for Jason White.
Well, maybe the leading candidate for the Heisman Trophy. Jason White is 1 for 8. The one, of course, a 19-yard touchdown strike to Mark Clayton. 1 for 8.
It's not a Jason White-like afternoon, that's for sure. And Guy Moore said, hey, we'll go out there and hang everything out there. Nothing to lose. And that's what he told his football team before the game. And playing pretty inspired ball right now.
You know, as strange as this may sound, Gary, they lost 41-3 last year to Oklahoma, but he felt his team played their best game of the year against the Sooners. Here's Mosley. And Mosley for 5 or 6 yards, dropped by Clint Ingram. And one of the reasons is he felt they played with passion, and he felt like they sustained it for 60 minutes. They got out-athleted at the end of the day.
Well, in that ball game they did, and you know, this year against Texas A&M where they won, they played inspired football, they played smart football. They didn't turn the ball over in that football game, so they got the big win. But he's been very disappointed in his football team over the last couple of weeks because they have not played with that same passion, that same emotion. It looks like today they're starting out, and with a new quarterback, things are a little bit different for him.
And again, it's Mosley, and he'll get a yard or 2. It'll set up 3rd down and short. The first down line is brought to you by Overstock.com. Visit Overstock.com today and start saving. It's all about the O. Parks, by contrast, 7 of 11 throwing the football for 72 yards.
This is what you want for your Baylor offense. Come in here 3rd and medium, 3rd and short here. A chance to get these 3rd down conversions, and not in 4th down, 3rd and long situations where Terrence Parks has to make a huge play, just 4 or 5 yards here.
Good strike, complete. First down yardage. Sean Rashad with his first catch to the 45-yard line. Decisive throw by Parks.
Now the junior receiver, Sean Rashad, got the start today over Dominic Ziegler, who's not playing. And good throw and catch here. A little in route, turns it back to the outside between 2 defenders there in the secondary.
Running their playbook. That's
simple
zone
play.
Yeah, it's a 35 zone.
All it is, just read the running, read the hole here, have your tailback get the ball deep, and find out what the flow of the defense is going to be like. Cut it back if you can. You're only getting a couple of yards, but it's a positive play. Now, last week against Nebraska, this OU defense didn't allow Nebraska to get into their side of the field till the second half of that ball game, and only yielding the 3 points on the very last play of the game. Very much near a shutout against the Huskers.
That was a strange finish. Roberts, and they stay on schedule. He was 2nd and 8, and they get about 6 or 7. Jonathan Jackson, defensive end, got way out there in the flat to make the tackle, so 3rd down and short.
Well, good play calling here, and I think they've changed it up enough. Brent Peace, the offensive coordinator, not getting pressure from the defense. Brent Venables and Bo Pelini choosing not to pressure and blitz his quarterback early, giving him a chance to sit back there and throw the football. I think they're going to have to bring some perimeter pressure unsettle this quarterback, get him out of his rhythm here to be successful with his defense.
Third down, a full yard to go. Evans in motion. They go play action. And it's complete. First down. Making the catch, Marcus Venus, the tight end. I like the call, Gary.
Yeah, it's a little bootleg here. Marcus Venus is going to be your tight end. He's coming across the field here and going to throw it underneath. Jonathan Jackson almost gets to him before he can throw the football, but a good job here of getting the ball out. And good pressure on the quarterback, but just not enough time to get there. Terrence Park showing he's got a little poise back there. Is what Guy Morris talked about. He's looking very pleased with how he came in and played last week, and did a pretty good job early this afternoon.
You've done some coaching. Sometimes you have a kid who doesn't say a whole lot. He's very quiet by nature, and you're wondering, is he listening? And they found out Parks was listening to everything. Pressure coming from Oklahoma. There's Cody, and he's going to hot tie Parks to the ground at the 45-yard line.
Well, the one thing I'm sure that he was told was to stay away from number 80. Dan Cody knows how to get to quarterbacks. That's his 9th sack on the season. The senior's done a great job leading his football team. Very emotional player, and he just plays with effort and toughness. You see the bull rush here on the big tackle on the outside, and Quentin Allen just cannot handle Dan Cody. And good speed here, just uses his hands and gets to the quarterback. And he's a big guy to get down, as we talked about earlier, Drew. But Dan Cody, like I talked about, he's got a good motor they talk about. They like his upfield speed, and he's going to have a chance to play certainly on Sundays.
Now it's 2nd and 26, a loss of 16. And Parks has to throw it away. That just, there's a flag down also around midfield. That just kills you. I mean, if you're Baylor, there's an illegal man downfield. If you're Baylor, Gary, it's tough enough this year to gain 10 yards, much less having to gain 20 plus.
Oh, it really is. It's tough when you knock yourself back. But, the defensive pressure, we talked about Dan Cody, but here on this play, he makes an exceptional play because he just covers the back. He's smart enough to cover the back out of the backfield on the screen play. And he's the reason why Terrence Parks had to throw the ball out of bounds. So,
downfield. Penalty is refused. It's going to be 3rd down.
We're talking about Dan Cody right here. He sees Mosley here in the screen pass here and just kind of checks him out. And you see the pressure there. Good job by the defense not getting unsettled. And Terrence Parks smartly throws the ball away. It's a good job by that young man of not making a bad play. But 3rd and long here. Expect these Bears. I'd be pretty conservative here if I were them.
Yeah, the playbook gets real thin on 3rd and 26. Parks is going to go down. 4th sack of the ball game. Rufus Alexander came right up the gut on a blitz.
Well, the sophomore linebacker has a lot of ability, and they really like him. He starts here. Take a look at Rufus Alexander. He's going to come right up the gut here on the quarterback and pretty much untouched. The center doesn't get out there to get him. That's Joe DeWoody who misses that block and gets the big quarterback down to the ground here. This OU defense showing they've got speed, they've got talent, and they finish plays when they get there. And sometimes those tackles don't get made, but these tacklers for OU, a good defensive tackling unit.
Now, 3 plays ago, they had 1st and 10 from the Oklahoma 39. They'll now punt from their own 35-yard line. And Sepulveda turns it over. Clayton driven back and drops the football. It's still loose. Oklahoma recovers it at their own 12-yard line. Clayton dropped it initially, then tried to pick it up, and he dropped it again. 7-0 Sooners with 8:18 to go in the first half from Waco. Well, from 1972 to 1992, the leader of the Baylor Bears in the autumn was that man, Grant Taft. Looks pretty good there. Looks even better live.
Thank you very much.
Along with Coach Taft, Drew Goodman, Gary Reeves. Coach, how you doing?
I'm really doing great. It's a beautiful day for football, and college football's never been better. It's exciting for all of us that love this great game.
I would think that you're pretty confident. Guy Morris comes back down to Waco a little more than a year ago, and they feel, I know he feels like they're headed in the right direction.
Well, I really think they are. I've seen some pretty rough things in the last few years since I left Baylor. And I believe that this coach and his staff have a handle on what needs to be done. The key is, obviously like any program, getting the recruiting.
He's the lifeblood of every college football program, and that is just the second complete pass. It's Joe John Finley out to the 23-yard line. Coach, you're the president of the AFCA, which is the American Federation Coaches Association, and this time of year is particularly busy because of all the conversation about the BCS. And my question, like so many others, is will this ever evolve to either BCS +1 or some sort of playoff in your estimation?
Well, as executive director of the American Football Coaches Association, I do this every day and deal with it, but I believe the presidents have made it clear that there's not going to be a regular playoff, and if you just honestly look at it, there's really not a place for that time-wise. You'd have to cut back on the number of games. Each institution wants 12 games instead of 10 to play for financial reasons of their own, and then you run out of time. 4+1 might work, however, the presidents have said no on that. But the truth of the matter is, and few people understand this, that 4+1 is no really any difference than what we have now. This is an imperfect system, but it's so much better than the old system we had, which was the deal where the polls just selected a mythical championship.
Well, Coach, you've got 4 teams now that are unbeaten still in college football, and 3 at the top here. Take a look at the AP poll that we have with USC, Oklahoma, Auburn, and also Utah still unbeaten. What do you think about how things are unfolding so far this year with the 3 unbeaten teams and a chance that one of those 3 teams at the top may not have a chance to play for that national championship?
Well, that's a possibility, and that's the reason the poll, the computer poll, is in there to measure the differences. One thing that we got last year that we think is really important is that the winner of our poll has a strong mathematical chance of being in the game.
On 3rd and short, they get the tight end, James Moses, free. And White clicks with Moses, flip side of the 50 to the 48 on the 25-yard pass play.
Coach, you're seeing Jason White here, Heisman Trophy winner a year ago, and actually doing a good job today in the play-action pass here, faking Adrian Peterson. They've got to respect him, but tell me about what your thoughts are about him throwing the football and what he's done over the last couple of seasons.
Oh, I think he's terrific. I was talking to Bob Stoops this week, and we were talking about him. He's the consummate quarterback. He's humble, you know, he's not self-serving in any way, and he delivers.
We go play action again. And it is intercepted and then dropped. It was picked off by Andrews, and then he couldn't squeeze it. Nice break on the football by Andrews, the junior from Longview, Texas.
Well, when you have defensive backs like this, Coach, that can undercut a throw, Jason White trying to get to his receiver coming across the field, and here's the undercut right there, and that's what you'd like to do, get a Baylor Bear to make an interception like that in this football game.
Well, you know, they're going to have some kind of big play to eventually stay in the game. Oklahoma's a great football team. They're balanced offense and defense.
You know what, right now, there's 6:13 to go in the first half. It's just 7-0 Oklahoma. I'm sure that's surprising some folks looking in around the country. And Peterson is stopped right around the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing there. Andrews involved in the run game.
Well, Oklahoma, they've had a 2-tiered approach this year, Coach. They've had not only Jason White, but number 28, Adrian Peterson, running here. Good job by the Baylor defense this time of stepping in there and making a good play on defense. Brings up a 3rd and 10. What are your thoughts about Adrian Peterson? Have you seen him play much this year?
I've seen him on television play, and he's the real deal. I think he's probably as good as any freshman to come along in a long time. He's got the strength and the size to go with his uncanny ability to make the break when he has to.
I agree with you. I think he's got great ability.
The Iller comes with 7. White unloads, and it's caught by Clayton, but a minimal gain. Good coverage by C.J. Wilson.
That's exactly right. Good pressure that time on Jason White. The defense coming after him. Tell you, Bill Bradley, I think, has put a pretty good defensive plan together here to go against this OU offense. You see the pressure coming here and right in Jason White's face. He has to throw it under duress, but he gets it out to Clayton, but he's covered it very well by Wilson, number 3. Makes a tackle short, brings up 4th down, and OU's going to be punting.
Andrews will stay away from it, and it's going to roll into the end zone. So a punt of 44, but a net of just 24. Coach Taft, it's great as always to see you.
Thank you.
Good luck the rest of the college football season.
Thank you very much.
7-0 Oklahoma. Back to Waco in a moment. See, people are wondering around the country, is there actually a Baylor Bear?
Sure.
And the answer is yes. There's the Baylor Bear.
Treating well down here, too.
You better. And the Baylor Bears are hanging tough with Oklahoma, down just a touchdown. Mosley makes a man miss. And he'll get 10 yards, his best run of the ball game, before Antonio Perkins brought him down.
Well, nothing special, nothing really doing different up front. Just man-on-man blocking here. It's a zone play. Take the tailback, read it downhill. You see the block here to Woody, number 61, the center, clearings out the backside, and have to make a tackle back there on the backside. A big tailback to get down, so good job for Baylor. See Paul Mosley here from Austin, Texas, not too far from Waco.
Good size back. Parks had a double move on the outside. It broke down, and now he throws it up for grabs. Actually, he threw it beyond the reach of Dante Nicholson. That's a smart play. He's done that a couple of times. If it's not there, he's thrown the football away.
Well, that's experience beyond his years, really, because he hasn't had the game experience to do those kinds of things. And when you see a quarterback who just naturally does it, now he played quarterback his senior year at high school. We talked about him being a receiver for Reggie McNeil as a junior, but when he was a senior at Lufkin, he became the starting quarterback, so he had that experience. So they knew they were getting a good athlete when they brought him here to Baylor and played him some at receiver, but now at the quarterback spot.
Here's the zone read, and for the first time today, Parks keeps the football. Rufus Alexander made the tackle. Minimal gain. It'll be 3rd down and 7. This is shocking, at least right now. Oklahoma's leading, but the quarterback comparison, your Heisman Trophy candidate and your reigning Heisman Trophy winners just 4 of 13, and some redshirt freshmen's 10 of 16.
Well, he's been pretty good distributing the football. Jason White hasn't been sharp. I think it's because of the pressure of the Baylor defense, and the production hasn't been there for OU offensively. But right now, Terrence Parks showing some poise and showing that he might have what it takes to be a quarterback in this league.
Shelton catches it, but he's knocked down by Waco native Marcus Walker, a true freshman, almost immediately. And now Baylor will have to punt the football.
There's a short pass outside, not able to get the ball down the field enough for that 1st down. So we'll see Daniel Sepulveda once again.
I'll tell you what, I love the story about Sepulveda. Not only had he never punted before, he's a walk-on linebacker. They wanted to play him on special teams. They said, you know, he's too big a weapon as a punter. He also, this is how much respect his teammates have for him. This kid's a sophomore. He's one of the tri-captains for Baylor. You ever heard of that before? A sophomore punter as one of your captains?
Yeah, the thing is a sophomore is great, but the punter, you know, that's not usually what you have as your leader. But Sepulveda's done a great job here for this football team, and what he's done numbers-wise across the country, he's one of the best punters.
51-yard punt there, and also a net of 51. Baylor, they haven't scored, but they're hanging.
Dallas halftime report. I'll be joined by the Hall of Famers Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith. We go around the Big 12 rivalries extraordinaire, and it's Michigan headed to Pasadena. They are at Ohio State. It's all coming up on the Cialis halftime report. Back to Baylor. Drew, Gary, John.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Michigan, Ohio State, not real fond of each other, Gary, as I recall.
That's a pretty rivalry up there, and there's a few of those today, and I know there's a lot of folks from OU going to be watching the Auburn-Alabama contest with great interest.
15th carry for Adrian Peterson, and he'll get about 5 yards. 15 carries, unofficially 82 yards for Adrian Peterson.
Take a look at what OU has done today. Really done a good job. Baylor has. He had the turnover there where they got the touchdown, but really nothing happening so far. You got Trey DiCarlo missing that field goal attempt, but good job here by the Baylor defense of kind of bending but not breaking, and OU really hasn't been clicking. Jason White has not been particularly sharp.
They've had a lot of injuries and some suspensions, and yet Baylor, who came in 111th in the country in points allowed, is hanging right in there. That's out to the 29-yard line for Brandon Jones, tackled by James Todd. Let's go down to the field again. Check in with John Radigan. John.
Yeah, Drew, sort of our own little 2-minute warning here as we wind down towards halftime, and remind you that coming up at halftime, it is the Cialis halftime report. We go back to the studios where Mike and Kellen and Billy Ray are standing by. They've got highlights for you from all the early games, and oh yeah, you alluded to it a moment ago. It is Rivalry Saturday all over the country. A great day in college football. That's all coming up at halftime on the Cialis Halftime Report.
All right, John Skinny post Joe John Finley, but the pass a little bit too tall. And White now 5 of 15.
Well, not Jason White-like numbers. Last week against Nebraska, we talked about it, 18 straight completions, but nothing like that here against Baylor. Credit their defensive secondary of being close enough and not allowing those easy throwing catches, and the pressure, too, up front. Talk about Bill Bradley, the new defensive coordinator here for the Bears. NFL guy a year ago came in here and really has taken some time and growing pains with his defense, but putting a pretty good plan together so far this afternoon.
2nd and 10, Clayton crosses in motion. Kewan Jones makes a couple miss, still going before he trips over Justin Crooks, one of the people who missed. Out to the 45-yard line, 1st down for the Sooners.
Well, you see the pressure here on the quarterback. He's going to get hit and knocked to the ground, but Kewan Jones makes something happen after the catch and breaking 2 or 3 tackles there in the Baylor defense and moving the ball down the field. Good job on the quick pass outside, and Jason White seeing that pressure but avoiding it and getting a throw out there.
And White again looking for Joe John Finley. He stumbled to the ground. It'll be 2nd and 10, and the coverage was there again. You know, Willie Andrews, 18's been everywhere for Baylor.
Yeah, he's all over the field, and this defense has really done a pretty good job. You take that secondary, what they've done against a pretty good receiving core with Brandon Jones, Travis Wilson, Mark Bradley, and then Mark Clayton, their go-to guy. Hasn't been a lot of production by those guys in this football game.
I like the line from Guy Morris. Last year after the Oklahoma game, he said, all right, you guys hung in there. The score ended up a little lopsided. He goes, but you saw the boogeyman, and now you have nothing to fear anymore. Screen set up, Kewan Jones, all kinds of room. Blockers in front, and he'll run out of bounds at the 38-yard line of Baylor, but another 1st down for Oklahoma.
Well, this is a very well set up play. You're going to have Kewan Jones on the backside. He's going to come across here, and Jason White, you're going to see the defense all going this way, and Jason White throws across the grain. All that open area in front. If he gets one block there, Travis Wilson, if he was able to make that block, he might be running to the end zone. Good job by our line of coming across and getting him out of bounds, but a pretty good play there, nicely executed by the OU offense.
Screens generally work against blitz packages. Baylor is sold out on a number of plays. And Wilson makes a catch, but it's dropped almost immediately. Michael Boyd making the tackle.
OU's calling a timeout here.
1:12 to go in the 1st half. Oklahoma up just 7-0. All the talk around Oklahoma and these parts of Texas coming in, Gary, was he going to be named that score with Bob Stoops, be in a situation where he may feel like he had to run up the score to impress folks back east or out west and maybe don't catch the game and just voters are looking to score. I think that's one of the unfortunate aspects of where we are in college football, and it's not a comfortable one for Coach Stoops. I know that.
Well, I know it's not comfortable for him and a lot of coaches who are put in that situation where, hey, it's one of those things where you talk about credibility, you're talking about sportsmanship, and you talk about how you want to be a football coach who has a great amount of respect for the other football team, and Bob Stoops was forced to really do something out of character a week ago.
Very definitely. Hey, College Football Saturday will return next week, beginning with a special edition on Friday. Number 20 Arizona State will take on Arizona in a showdown between in-state rivals. And on Saturday, it's 23rd ranked Oklahoma State trying to get past Texas Tech. That will be interesting. It all begins at 3 in the East, noon out west. Friday and Saturday only on FSN. And Bob Stoops was conflicted after the ball game in that his job is to take care of the Sooners, to win, and he's a sportsman first. And sportsmanship's very important to him.
He is a sportsman, but they know where they're at. They know that the big eye is looking at him. That's the collective country watching OU and seeing how well they win these football games, especially over the next couple of weeks. Big favorite here against the Baylor Bears, but credit their defense here. Guy Morris has got this football team ready to play, and they're playing well here early.
2nd down and 7. Again, 1:12 left in the 2nd quarter. They throw it in the flat, and Kewan Jones darts out of bounds at the 30-yard line. It'll stop the clock, and it'll set up 3rd down and a couple.
Well, good throw and good catch, get out of bounds, and I think Kewan Jones had planned to just get what you could and get out of bounds, stop that clock, and Now Jason White with a chance to throw the ball to get that first down. Remember, in college football, the clock stops on a first down. Still have 2 timeouts left, the Sooners.
53% tops in America, but this afternoon just 2 for 7 on 3rd down. Clayton goes in motion, 3rd and 2. White comes off his initial target, and then he finds Finley, the backup tight end, first down to the 20-yard line with 1:01 to play in the clock stop.
We talked about the quarterback and his vision. That's what Jason White has. See the reads here. He reads 1 to his left, 2 to the middle. Then he comes down to Joe John Finley, his 3rd look. And when you have protection by the offensive line, you can do that. Hasn't been there all day for Jason White, but right now, offensive line doing a pretty good job.
He can run, and now he's dropped from behind. One of the biggest differences is Oklahoma calls timeout this year for Jason White is his ability to move. Late last season, they had to run most of their offense, Gary, out of the shotgun because he couldn't really push off with the sore knees.
Yeah, the knees were a problem a year ago, but he's very comfortable now getting either under center or back in the shotgun. A year ago, they were probably about 80% in the shotgun, but because of Adrian Peterson and the ability to do play action pass, they're now 50-50 underneath the center and from the shotgun position, and partly is because Jason White's health has improved greatly.
Unbeaten Oklahoma in the running for national football honors, this fall is showing the power of its devastating new formation, the split T, which last year made the Team Sugar Bowl champion. Guards play 1 foot wide of the center, tackles are 2 feet from guards, and ends are a yard outside the tackle. The defense has to spread, and that puts the pressure on the opponents. So far, the split T beat Boston College, Texas Aggies, Texas, Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa State. It's spreading to other schools as Oklahoma bids for the national championship.
Well, you know what? It happened really quickly. But if we could look back for a moment downstairs in the truck, let's see if I'm going to steal your telestrator for a moment, Gary Reasons. But look really carefully right here. That's my partner. That's Gary Reasons.
Yeah, dream on, big fella. You know what? That's a great offense. So Bud Wilkinson ran back in the day, and we're going to have a chance to visit with Coach Switzer. Barry Switzer is going to join us, I think, later in the 3rd quarter and talk a little about that old bone of old and the great tradition they have with the Sooners.
Bradley to the near side, Clayton in the slot to the top. Screen set up, Kewan Jones with a blocker in front, and he'll get it to the 14-yard line. John Radigan downstairs. What do you know?
Hey, Drew, I'm over here by the OU, on the OU sideline, by where the kickers warm up, and it appears that Oklahoma is ready to take the red shirt off Garrett Hartley. Their freshman kicker has been red-shirted all year long, and they had been trying to protect him, obviously, here in the last game of the regular season, but just now he has been kicking all the warm-up kicks into the net. It looks like after that miss earlier in the game by Trey DiCarlo, Garrett Hartley will likely get the opportunity if the Sooners go for a field goal here.
Bob Stoops has been very loyal to Trey DiCarlo, giving him a lot of opportunities, but right now he does not have his mind in sync with his body. He is not doing what you need to. Something is wrong there. Saw an article in the paper about Trey DiCarlo, and they asked him some questions about his ability and what's going on. He said, hey, I just don't have it going right now, and I'm trying to find that again. So here's a chance now for Hartley possibly to get into this football game. And would you like to take the red shirt off of him late in the season? But no, you really wouldn't. But I think they really want to have a chance to win a championship, and Hartley might be an answer here because Trey DiCarlo is searching for some answers.
And this isn't just any kicker. Trey DiCarlo was a Groza Award finalist last year, one of the 3 top kickers in America. And he is struggling, as Gary described, this season. Hey, Priest Holmes and Randy Moss are still down. Eli Manning is getting the start in New York. Ben Roethlisberger still is yet to lose. What will happen in Week 11? What free agents will help round out your roster? The Ultimate Fantasy Football Show has all the answers, and the only place to find it is tonight, 10:30 p.m., only on FSN.
Well, my Giants are starting a new quarterback, huh?
Yeah, pretty good bloodlines, though, Gary.
Pretty good bloodlines. Just something I think that was inevitable, but they brought him along halfway through the season. Have a chance for the young Manning now to get started in his NFL career.
3rd down and 3 from the 13-yard line. 35 seconds left in the first half. No timeouts left for Oklahoma. And it'll be a first down, I believe, to Jones in the flat, and he gets out of bounds. That play took just 4 seconds.
Looked like he needed to get to the 10-yard line or just beyond, and Jason White tosses it out here to Keywan Jones very quick here. Nice throw and catch. You see the line, the angle he's trying to get to that 10-yard line, and gets right out of bounds, stops the clock, and a first down.
And again, it's Willie Andrews defensively.
And so it brings up first and goal. The ball is spotted just inside the 10-yard line.
This is where you look to Clayton, the touchdown maker, and he goes in motion. Over the head of Bradley. Pretty tight coverage there by Anthony Arline. Second down and goal, 26 seconds left.
Yeah, we talked about Arline. He's a good-looking cornerback back there. Got good size, good ability, and got pretty good speed. And, you know, he's locking up pretty well with Clayton and Travis Wilson and Bradley and those guys back there for the Sooners that they run out in the secondary. So Arline doing a pretty good job on that play.
Next snap will be the 13th of this drive. It started 77 yards ago. Longest drive of the ball game for Oklahoma. The touchdown drive would do 17 yards after a fumble. Man open, touchdown, it's Travis Wilson. No flags down in front of Braylon Davis.
Well, it all starts up front. If you've got time to throw the ball where Jason White, a Heisman Trophy winner, can set his feet. Take a look at the protection here. Nobody in his face. He's able to read the defense in his zone coverage, and he gets right in between the free safety and the cornerback there. And good job by the offensive line allowing Jason White to do what he does best, and that's throw the ball into the end zone. Touchdown after touchdown here Jason White has in his career, and doing a pretty good job here on that throw.
That was Garrett Hartley. So they have pulled the red shirt from Hartley, and he nails his first attempt. 14-0 Oklahoma. The Sooners go more than 80 yards, and it's 14-0. Andrews back deep along with Sean Rashone.
Neil Hartley, who got his red shirt pulled off there, now the 11th week of the season. Chance to kick that extra point, put it through and true, and now has a chance to kick the ball off. And perhaps Trey DiCarlo is going to be set down once again for the rest of this football game. And difficult decision, I'm sure, for Bob Stoops to make, but moving forward, looking towards the Big 12 championship game and possibly a national championship game, you're going to have confidence in the kicker, and they decide to go with Hartley.
Hartley's kick in the wind is short. Gathered in at the 20-yard line. Out to the 29-yard line goes Rashawn. 87-yard drive for Bob Stoops' club. Over 225, and White was 11 of 13 on that drive. That's more like him.
Yeah, that's more like him. That's your money man. He comes into play in situations where it's a 2-minute drill. He does a good job moving the offense. Jason White clicking now with this Sooner offense.
17 seconds left for Baylor. I imagine they'll either put a knee down or hand it off. And it'll be the knee down, and they'll go into the locker room knowing they played well, but they don't have any points on the board. The number 2 team in the country, Oklahoma, leads it 14-0 in Waco, Texas. So Oklahoma, 17 yards in the first quarter for a touchdown drive, and then a real impressive 87-yard drive. And White now 30 touchdown passes, just 4 interceptions. John Radigan's with Bob Stoops. John?
Yeah, we got Coach Stoops. Coach, how satisfying was that long drive after they'd done a pretty good job defensively on it?
Yeah, they had, and sure, just to put it together and, and work a 2-minute drill. It's good to finish up the half that way. Hopefully it gives us some momentum coming in the second half.
What do you tell them at halftime?
Well, we need to, execute a little better on offense. Defensively, we played really pretty well, and offensively, we're not far off. Hopefully, we'll, put it all together here, run and pass, and get the ball in the end zone a little bit.
Great, Coach. Thanks very much. Good luck in the second half. That's Bob Stoops, his team with a 14-0 lead after that long 87-yard drive at the end of the half. Back upstairs to Drew.
All right, John, thanks very much. So the Sooners leading 14-0 at Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco. Let's join Mike Goldberg, Kellen Winslow, Billy Ray Smith in our college football Saturday studio for the Cialis halftime report. Waco, Texas, the second-ranked Oklahoma Sooners leading the Baylor Bears 14-0. Back upstairs along with Gary Reasons, I'm Drew Goodman. Took a little while for Jason White to get going. I think they had a pretty good defensive scheme. I know they did for Baylor because they knocked him on the ground. Jason White hasn't been down much.
Hasn't been down a whole lot this season, but I tell you, this football team for Baylor, they came to play defensively. A lot of pressure on him early in this football game. As we talked about, the pressure knocking him down on the ground, not making it easy for him to throw the football. So he's had good protection most of the season. But I tell you, this Baylor defense, hey, they're bending but not breaking. But here in the first half, after a turnover, you see the touchdown to Mark Clayton, the big throw, and then to the end of the half, an 87-yard drive by the Sooners. Jason White kind of got fired up there. 13 of 15 on that drive. Did a pretty good job.
He did a great job there after starting just 1 for 8 in the football game. So the Sooners are up 14-0 as we take a look at our Zales halftime numbers. And the key is the passing yards, particularly on that second drive.
Well, that second drive, yeah, it really was key, I think, Drew. But overall, offensively, Oklahoma's moving the ball pretty well. Defensively, Baylor has done a pretty good job of pressuring Jason White, but OU's defense, the 4 sacks in the football game, not allowing Terrence Parks to move the ball down the field. Only 100 yards of total offense for Baylor in that first half. So overall, the OU football team has started out slow, but came on pretty strong with that score late in the second quarter.
Well, the Sooners will get the football, Gary, to begin the second half. So we'll see White immediately. Sooners trying to go 11-0. On 18 occasions, they have finished a regular season unbeaten. 17 times unbeaten and untied. Well, John Radigan a few moments ago caught up with Guy Morris, the head coach of Baylor.
Yeah, I tell you what, Drew, I talked to Guy as he came back from the locker room, and the first thing he said was offensively, we need to be more consistent. He said we moved the ball pretty well, but then one play or one mistake, as he termed it, would shoot us in the foot. We would shoot ourselves in the foot. I asked him about the pressure they were able to put on Jason White, especially early in the half that you guys were talking about, and he said, yeah, we had pressure on him, and then they changed the scheme a little bit. He goes, but don't be surprised if we change things up a little bit and try to get more pressure on him this half. That's what they're going to try to do anyway, guys. Back upstairs to you.
All right, John, thanks very much.
Drew, I'm noticing some wind out here, too. I wonder if John can tell us about the wind down the field. I see the flags moving and it's blowing into this booth up here. I wonder if it's going to affect the play downstairs.
Peterson busts it up the middle. Adrian Peterson in the open field. Arline's trying to catch him, and he will at the 33-yard line. If Anthony Arline doesn't hang on, that's an 80-yard touchdown run. 48 on that gallop from the freshman from Palestine, Texas.
When you crowd the line of scrimmage and you only have one person in the secondary, this is what can happen. You pop through at the initial line of scrimmage, and Adrian Peterson shows, hey, he's 6'3", 215 pounds, but he's got breakaway speed. Several long runs already this season for Adrian Peterson, and a great way to start the third quarter for the Sooners.
They'll run a delay. Here's Peterson again. Nice little shake there. Peterson hurdles out of a tackle to the 18-yard line. How special is Adrian Peterson?
Well, I don't think number 5, Braylon Davis, for the Baylor defense, has seen anybody like Adrian Peterson come in front of him. He has a chance to make the play here on the outside initially, but he shakes and bakes right there. That's Braylon Davis, number 5. Luckily, he continues with the football and winds up making the tackle here, but Adrian Peterson's got enough speed and ability to make people miss. That's the uncanny thing about a guy with his size and ability to have this ability to make people miss in the open field that really makes him one of the special backs in college football.
First and 10 from the Baylor 17-yard line. White throws a screen, and to the 4-yard line goes Mark Clayton. First and goal there for Oklahoma. 3 plays, and they have covered 76 yards. I don't know what Bob Stoops said, but he got their attention.
Well, it's explosiveness both on the ground and through the air. This OU football team is very balanced, and Bob Stoops wanted to get that this year from his football team, and they certainly have. Coming out here in the third quarter, kind of a sluggish start in that first half for this OU football team, but putting a pretty good drive together very quickly here in the third quarter.
Peterson will get it to the 1-yard line. Michael Tolbert will get up last for Baylor. Second and goal at the 1-yard line, and now look at the numbers for Adrian Peterson. 149 yards on 18 carries.
That's 10 games this year. Over 100 yards for that young freshman. That's a tremendous mark. He had 9 consecutive. Didn't get it a week ago against the Huskers. Played injured, didn't start the football game, but back here with a couple long runs that he's had, got him up over that century mark for the 10th time this season.
Here he comes, and he walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Oklahoma. They made that look pretty easy. They sliced and diced the Baylor defense. And Peterson into the end zone for the 10th time in his freshman season.
He's a special player, Drew. He's one of those guys, very uncommon. I think he's a special player that you don't see once in every couple of decades. I look back at like a Herschel Walker coming into the scene in Georgia. Those kind of backs, big with power, with speed. They're very rare in college football, and he's going to have a very, very bright future. And hopefully for the Sooners fans, he'll be with them for a long time to come.
He's reminiscent of former Oklahoma greats. Remember when Marcus Dupree came out of Philadelphia, Mississippi. 21-0 OU.
Yeah, it's all about that.
It's all about
the Sooners. They're trying to get that Orange Bowl.
Well, last time they won the national championship 4 years ago, they won it at the Orange Bowl. Many similarities between that 2000 national championship Sooner team and this one vying for a national title. Well, this is a better kickoff. Andrews 4 yards deep. The freshman Garrett Hartley really got into that one. 5 plays, 80 yards for Bob Stoops' offense. And the biggest difference late in this college football season as compared to 03 is their ability to run the football consistently.
Well, sometimes your passing game just isn't there, and coaches know that, hey, we've got to be able to run the ball, establish line of scrimmage, be dominant there, and then the passing game is going to work. If you're a one-dimensional football team, it is hard to win consistently, so being able to blend the run with the passing game has really set the Sooners apart this year.
Paul Mosley takes the football. He will lose a yard. Lynn Magruder was in the middle of things. Gayron Allen was there as well. Well, here's Adrian Peterson on that last series. You make a great point, Gary. A guy that big shouldn't be that agile. It's not fair.
It isn't fair, but there are guys out there very special, and Adrian Peterson is certainly one of them. Just workmanlike, and that's one thing that they talk about, his character and his work ethic and what he does, you know, not just on game days, but during the week and in practice. And Adrian Peterson is a complete back, and he's got all the tools to be a special one, and certainly has been so far for Oklahoma.
Sooners come with a max blitz. Parks unloads. And Rashawn couldn't come up with the football, so it'll be 3rd down and 11.
We talked about Terrence Parks in the first half and really being confident and composed back there throwing the football. And that was a good example of the Sooners coming with a little pressure in his face, and he does what he needs to. He throws the ball up and out of bounds and not making a bad play. He had a couple of plays in the first half where he was sacked on consecutive plays, and it brings up a 3rd and 4th situation which is unmanageable for a football team. And so they know they want to do well on 1st and 2nd down and being 3rd and medium, but here we are again in the 3rd and 10 plus.
Roberts and Rashad to the near side, 3rd and 11. Mosley departs. And that goes nowhere. Thrown in the flat, and Rodney Poole was all over Jonathan Evans.
Well, what you do offensively sometimes goes over to your defense, and that's what the Sooners did right there. Played spirited offense. Good job running the football to start the 3rd quarter here, to start the 2nd half, and now the defense comes out and plays spirited football, not allowing anything to happen for Baylor offensively.
You know, I'm looking around this stadium, John Radigan's floor level. I would say, to be kind, it's 50-50 in terms of Sooner Baylor Bears fans. It may be a situation where there are more OU fans. I see more crimson in the stands actually than green. That was Perkins back at the 25-yard line. We were told, yeah, he must have. Antonio with 8 career touchdowns. They wanted to hold him back for a couple of weeks to the Big 12 championship game. I guess not. Again, from Floyd Casey Stadium in actually Beverly Hills, Texas, right on that Waco border.
Why would you call it the Oregon State game the Civil War? Did that happen on the East Coast?
It did, but they've always referred to it up there as the Civil War. Peterson, look at him go to the 40-yard line. Broke a tackle in the backfield, got 14 instead of losing a couple. And here is what the true freshman from Palestine, Texas has done from day one this year.
Well, he's an exceptional runner. We talked about his ability to break tackles, but he has put up some big numbers in the first, second, and third quarters. He actually gets stronger as you see the 400-plus yards in the third and fourth quarter this season. So Adrian Peterson, not good news for Baylor fans because he's turned it up here a notch in this second half with a couple of big runs already.
Runnels goes in motion, and here comes Peterson again. He doesn't look like, Gary, you played linebacker for 9 years in the NFL. He didn't look like a lot of fun to try to tackle.
Well, he's one of those guys that brings a load. You talk about players that deliver a blow that are defensive players. This guy's a striker. When he runs the ball downhill like that, I've seen him play, and he likes to lower his head and shoulders and take a look at his numbers on the season. Now, this is him against all the other freshmen in the Big 12, and you look at his production, that's all of them combined. Adrian Peterson has had a tremendous game. Now, this is up to 10 games now. That was coming into this ball game, up over 100 yards once again today.
They throw it to Runnels in the flat. He'll have a first down. Andrews knocks him off his feet at the 44-yard line of Baylor. You go back to Peterson, you want to talk about gaudy numbers. His senior year at Palestine High School, he averaged 11.7 yards a carry. Basically averaged a dozen yards every time he carried the football. That's ridiculous.
That really is. It's just tremendous production, and the Sooners knew they were getting a special player when he came across the Red River to play there, and a lot of speculation whether or not Bob Stoops is going to work him into the offense, but he certainly did, and he's been everything is advertised.
He has a similar running style. Tell me if you'd concur with the pretty fair running back who played at SMU, Eric Dickerson.
Well, Eric Dickerson was an upright runner, much like Adrian Peterson is, and you see the long stride, and I think the things that they do have similar there, they have the ability to jump step. What I mean by that is they can jump around guys and get separation. Got a good long stride and good vision of the field, and I don't think that Eric Dickerson was as physical a back as Adrian Peterson is, but that's pretty good similarity. That's pretty good company to be in.
And after that last carry, he's sitting right at 1,600 yards rushing this year. And he's got 16-12 or so.
Well, not only has he done well against the Big 12 this year, but Adrian Peterson, pretty good company at OU. There's some other backs there that have done pretty well, and here's some guys that they've had pretty good numbers, but he's off the charts in regards to what he's done, trying to update these numbers as we go here in today's game. But it's current as of that last run. Good job, Wade Robinson, in our truck.
Do you know what? One of the most memorable plays for me, you talking about great runs in college football history, was a 5-yard run. Spencer Tillman. Remember when he launched himself from the 5-yard line into the end zone, went airborne?
There's a lot of memorable moments for OU and their football team over the years.
They're not short on great backs over the years. The First Down Line is brought to you by Overstock.com. Save up to 70% every day. It's all about the O.
Well, something they haven't had to do here in the second half because of the run game is get Jason White throwing the football again. Just a couple of short passes, but now back on second and long in the gun.
Baylor is inexperienced, particularly inside today. There's a throw from White to Runnels. And Runnels running over people at the 5-yard line. Pretty obvious what's happening right now. Baylor was inspired in that first half. They're getting worn down a little bit right now.
Well, he's the heart and soul of this football team. He really is, because he blocks out of the backfield. He leads for Adrian Peterson and Keywan Jones, and they like to throw the ball to him. He's got great hands. J.D. Runnels is a very unselfish player, and he's a guy that I know Bob Stoops says a lot about his character, and he just goes out there with a great work ethic. And unfortunately, this is going to come back. There's a penalty on the play.
Illegal man downfield now. That's a strange one in that situation.
Well, I saw the line judge over here actually calling a tip. He's showing like there was a tip on that play, so that the ball was tipped. And if that was the case, the line downfield would not apply. But nonetheless, it's going to come back. But J.D. Runnels is one of those guys that's special on their football team, and he's the big reason why they're able to run the ball and also short passes.
That's what Bob Stoops is saying, that the ball was tipped.
We'll take a look on the right side of your screen here. You got Jason White throwing the football, and there's the ball tipped. I saw the line judge on the side over here calling it that it was tipped. It was right over here on this side of the field and right in front of Kejuan Jones. But so there's very, very that should normally be able to allow to continue.
Runnels has 12 catches this year, no carries. So he's going to get the ball. They're going to throw it to him. Here's Peterson off a Runnels block in the open field. Did he get it in? No. To the 1-yard line. What an effort as Willie Andrews grabbed him around the 7-yard line.
Did you see the change of the gears that he has? When he broke through the hole, his acceleration into the secondary, and then he utilizes his strength and his power to carry a Baylor defender almost into the end zone. Look at Adrian Peterson as he comes right through the hole, and when he sees that daylight, he turns it up a notch, and he see him bucking. There's Ian going, and
first 3 cars I owned didn't have that kind of acceleration.
Braylon Davis and Andrews having to get him in. He looks like he's inside the pylon from that angle, but they're going to call him out right at the 1-yard line.
He's going to get the opportunity to take it the final yard right here. Yes, he will. And again, he walks in. Oklahoma 27-0 now, 132 yards in the second half for Adrian Peterson. Or to be more exact, 132 yards in the first 6:26 or 7:26 of this third quarter. Coming right at you. He ran right over Vince Carter, the center, a senior from Waco High School. And Hartley adds the extra point. The Sooners, number 2 in the land, and showing everybody exactly why. Well, the Sooners started to roll for Bob Stoops with 7:34 to go in the third quarter. They lead it 28-0, and they're closing in on 400 yards of total offense. White has been good. Adrian Peterson has been great.
Yeah, he really has. He came out in the second half, and whatever Bob Stoops told that offense, I think Adrian Peterson was listening to it nonetheless, and that offensive line is doing a great job of getting him some blocking. And when you make big runs like that, there's usually good blocking on the perimeter with those wide receivers.
Hartley into the football. And Andrews from the 2. And he'll get it out to about the 18-19-yard line. Let's go down and check in again with John Radigan. John?
Hey, Drew, thanks very much. 5 years and 2 days ago, Texas A&M suffered a horrible tragedy. College football suffered a tragedy. It was November 18th, 1999, that the bonfire stack of wood at Texas A&M collapsed, killing 12 and injuring 27. Well, 2 days ago, a memorial was officially dedicated in College Station to those 12 students. 12 stone structures erected. They serve as a haunting reminder of all the people who lost their lives. Texas Governor Rick Perry among those on hand to remember and celebrate the lives of these students who died supporting their team, died supporting their school. That memorial is a beautiful tribute to those people, guys. Back upstairs to you.
Well said, John. On first down, Jonathan Golden carries the football for 6 or 7 yards. Baylor down 28-0. They moved it some in the first half. They couldn't produce points. They desperately need to put points on the board, obviously, right now.
Well, they've got to get on the field and move the ball down the field, keep that defense off the field, because OU is clicking offensively right now, and the only way to negate that is to have your offense have a little production.
Parks complete to Rashawn in front of Walker. It'll be a first down.
Walker, the young man, they took the red shirt off a couple of weeks ago to play cornerback, and having to cover Rashawn outside. Sean Rashawn, the junior, he started this week. Dominic Ziegler, the wide receiver we talked about in the first half, not starting out because of disciplinary reasons, and some tough decisions by Guy Morris to set some players down this week, but went with it. And good news that Sean Rashawn has stepped up.
Golden, nowhere to run. I mean, when you take the football, and the first thing you see are 4 white shirts, you know it's not going to be good. And the first shirt he saw was Remy Iodell. 300-pound junior from outside of Dallas and Grand Prairie.
Well, he saw Adrian Peterson spin around, and he made some guys miss, but a little bit different when you got that OU defense in front of you. Those guys stepping through, they're doing a good job up front. They've been pretty stingy defensively over the last couple of weeks, and doing it again today.
Coaches always talk about team speed, Gary. When you have 300-pounders that run like OU does, scary. Parks on the edge. And it is caught. Roberts has the football, looking for a block.
Well, Walker almost came up with the interception. The ball was tipped, and Walker had it, and it went back to the hands of the receiver. Terrence Parks throws a strike, and it's a ball that was up high, but it was tipped, and I thought that Walker came down with it, but it actually came back to the Baylor receiver. See the ball here, and ball's up top. It's a high throw. The ball's tipped right there. I thought that was Walker. It's Dante Nicholson. Almost had a chance for it. The ball pops up again, and the Baylor receiver came up with it.
So first down from the 44 of Oklahoma for Baylor. Golden takes the football again, and there's just nothing there. They had not been able to run the football at all this afternoon. Rodney Poole, free safety. Dan Cody, number 80. Here's Cody. He's a senior from Ada, Oklahoma. Academic All Big 12 player a year ago.
See some Sooner fans down here with their regalia.
A 4.5-hour drive, depending on how much you
a lot of fans in our hotel this morning here.
Quick throw, and Shelton couldn't come up with the football. Third down, and a dozen.
Well, this is one of those downs where I think that Guy Morris, you got to realize, hey, get at least half of it. You don't have to get it all, because I think fourth down would be a situation where they would go for it here in the plus side of the field and try to get that first down. So I'd look at this offensively as you have 2 downs to get your first down. And let's take a look here at what Terrence Parks tries to orchestrate.
Our offensive coordinator, Brent Pease, pretty good quarterback in his day. There's only been one accepted penalty all day. John Laurie getting together with his crew.
5 yards. Remains third down.
So now it'll be third and about 8.
That's something I think the offenses should do against this Oklahoma defense is probably a little bit more. They're so quick off the ball, and they anticipate so well that those hard counts sometimes can get those defensive players into the neutral zone. And I don't see a lot of that happening against Oklahoma. Pretty well coached, very good discipline for those guys, and not a lot of teams use that against them.
Roberts and Rashad go to the top. And Burdine from the backside catches Terrence Parks right around the line of scrimmage. You'll see if it may not go down as a sack. Well, actually, now where they're marking it, it will go down as a sack.
Well, they're going to bring 5 right here, and then Burdine's going to come outside and do a good job of just containing on his side of the field, gets around the tackle, then sheds him and comes back underneath to make the tackle and the sack. Terrence Parks trying to step up and make something happen, but a good job by Burdine of retracing.
So it won't be 4-down territory. They'll bring Sepulveda on. Down 28-0, 4th and 10 from their own 40, or excuse me, from the Oklahoma 44-yard line. Perkins back deep again. And Sepulveda deadens it inside the 10-yard line. It's the 23rd time this year he has gotten one down inside the 20-yard line. A punt of 37 yards. Look at that, Kansas State at home leading Iowa State 17-6.
Iowa State certainly has their destiny in their own hands. They have a chance to win the Big 12 North, but right behind the 8 ball right now, here's some scenarios with Nebraska against Colorado. They need a couple of things to happen for them. All 4 teams here have a chance to still get to the Big 12 championship game a week from next Saturday against OU Sooners.
We were going over that this morning, and I'll tell you what, I'm still confused.
Well, nothing's going to be decided until after next weekend.
Justin Crooks tackling Adrian Peterson from behind. Good pursuit from the Will linebacker Crooks.
Well, that's what I talked about early in the football game with the Daniel Sepulveda. What you can do with your football team is, you know, you go ahead and pin an offense back, and then your defense can play spirited and slide down the last scrimmage. Justin Crooks showed early in the first half making a good play. Here he is once again. You got to tackle well. When you get a team down here, you realize they're going to try to run the ball out on you. You got to make plays, and this is a chance for this Baylor defense to step up and make a difference.
White throws it to Moses. He makes a man miss. Finally rode out of bounds right near the first down sticks. Braylon Davis will get credit for the tackle. James Moses, 250-pound senior from Houston.
Yeah, the first 5 drives for Oklahoma, not as productive as they like. Only the 1 touchdown. With the last 3, they're certainly clicking to 3 touchdowns. Hence the 28-0 score here. Sooners have come out and played pretty good football in the third quarter.
I mean, it's freakish if you have a guy that's so good he becomes a Heisman Trophy candidate. To legitimately have 2 of those guys, that's why they're so prolific offensively. And a great offensive line back intact from a year ago. Kewan Jones slips ahead to the 20-yard line. He'll get 2 or 3.
And the first down here, so Oklahoma's continued to march. You talk about the offense here. You know, there's 3 teams at the top of the BCS. You've got USC, you've got Oklahoma, and you've got Auburn. I think all 3 of those teams, Drew, have good offenses and really great offenses. The question mark as it comes down towards the end of the season, which of the 3 teams' defense is really going to step up and shine, give them a chance to win championships in their conference, both in the SEC and the Big 12, but more importantly, the national championship. But these offenses, I think all 3 of them really can score.
There's White on a boot. He wants the deep ball, and this one is up for grabs, and then a flag comes in.
Well, Brandon
Jones was there, and it was double coverage.
He was bracketed, and that ball hung up in the air a little bit. I think that Jason White is throwing it into the wind here from our left to right. As you watch it on the field today, the wind is coming out of the east across the field.
15 yards, automatic, first down.
And a little contact there towards the end of the throw. Good coverage, plenty of players back there. Jason White trying to, stretch the defense. Take a look on the right side here.
He called it on Lane, Gary.
Well, you got 2 hands there. Number 21, Maurice Lane, actually has got 2 hands on him on the inside. It's a pretty good call.
So they'll walk 15 yards off, and it'll be 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line.
First down from the 34.
White was 1 for 9. He's 15 of his last 19. Peterson for a couple of yards. Time for our Bass Pro Shots trivia question. How have you done this year, Gary, on these?
I'm not very good. I really am not. I'll be honest with you, because
which 2 OU players? Yeah, well, which 2 OU players finished in the top 3 of the Heisman voting in consecutive years? One is. Should we give him one? One's fairly easy.
All right, give him one.
Billy Sims won it as a junior, and he finished 2nd in 1979, his senior year, to Charles White. We're not giving you the other one. Peterson tries to bounce it. Speed to get to the edge. Finally tackled by Maurice Lane, but they'll move the chains again for Oklahoma. Billy Sims, one of the many great backs in the history of Oklahoma football.
He just flies through the air. Billy Sims had an uncanny ability to get to that end zone. It's one of the special players in OU history for sure. And
we have Barry Switzer joining us in a little bit. We'll try to get him to tell the recruiting story of Billy Sims from Hooks, Texas.
That should be interesting.
Yeah. You know Barry a little bit. I imagine he was, well, I know he was quite a recruiter. And if you know his personality, you ever heard him talk? Not a surprise. Kewan Jones. Lane running inside out from his safety position. Good play. You're talking about Auburn and Southern Cal. Southern Cal still has to play Notre Dame and their arch rival UCLA.
Yeah.
Auburn Tigers will be in the SEC championship game. 10 carries, 144 yards in the second half for Adrian Peterson. Runnels on a little arrow route. And he lost his hat.
You know, Drew, there's been some interesting play here in this second half. Oklahoma's done a good job moving the football. We talked about the trivia question here. We're going to get the answer there.
Yeah, folks have had enough time to think about this one. So we told you Billy Sims, one of the two to finish in the top 3 in consecutive years. And the other was Greg Pruitt. 3rd and 71, and then 2nd in the Heisman balloting back in 1972, the year John Cappelletti won the Heisman Trophy.
31 from the 44.
3rd and very short. Kewan Jones getting some work, and he runs off of Jamal Brown, Davin Joseph for a first down.
You know, this Baylor Bear defense over the season, Drew, has really had some trouble sometimes stopping the running game. And there's been some big running games against them, a couple 300-yard team rushing performances against them. A couple of backs in the Big 12 have really had some big days. But I think that old 28 here for the Sooners may be right on top of the charts.
He's getting a breather right now. Kewan Jones has gotten to work. They run a draw to Jones. They get him on the ground. Jamal Harper in there, number 16 defensively. You know, Bob Stoops said something interesting to us before the start of this football game. He said, we're as healthy as we've ever been this time of year since he took over the program. He did a little knock on wood. And he also said, we're as talented as we've ever been. So this is a formidable Oklahoma team. We'll talk more about that in the fourth quarter. 3 chapters closed in Waco, Texas at Floyd Casey Stadium. 28-0 Oklahoma. You're watching College Football Saturday, presented by Kyocera on FSN. Back at Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, Texas, the second-ranked Oklahoma Sooners putting it on the Baylor Bears right now, 28-0. Drew Goodman, Gary Reasons, John Radigan will be joined by Coach Barry Switzer in a few moments. 2nd down and 8 for Oklahoma from the +38. And it's complete to Travis Wilson, who's been in the end zone today, and he'll stretch the chains again to the 28-yard line of Baylor. Let's get a Dr. Pepper game break. We go to Mike Goldberg in Los Angeles. Mike?
Drew, Iowa State at Kansas State, also on FSN, and the Cyclones being derailed from a potential Big 12 North title this year. Darren Sproles and Kansas State leads. Now, keep in mind, though, they can lose and beat Missouri next week, and if Nebraska beats Colorado, Iowa State still wins the North. It'll get confusing, though.
I'm going to rely on you, Mike,
really,
to figure that whole thing out.
A lot of scenarios left in that Big 12 North, that's for sure.
White has Wilson, end zone shot, and he was bracketed. It'll be incomplete, 2nd and 10. Let's bring in the former Oklahoma coach, Dallas Cowboy coach Barry Switzer, and I think you like what you see, particularly in the second half.
A little better, you know. Adrian Peterson's got a couple 100 yards
close
second half, and he stepped up his numbers. Obviously, Jason wasn't on the first quarter. 1 out of 8 doesn't get it, but he's picked up the second quarter, 12 out of 17. He's had to throw the ball in the flat, as y'all have seen today. Hadn't been able to get it to receivers.
Coach, you had some special backs. Adrian Peterson's got to be in that group.
Oh, yeah, you bet he is. He's big time. Special back. He's got, you like this, he outruns the people that are chasing.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's a tremendous advantage.
And
he
likes
to
run over guys, too. I've seen that.
He's physical, tough. He's got a lot of talent.
Well, here's a little bit of what he does. You take a look at Adrian. You just hand it back there to him in the I-back position, and he gets in behind those big offensive linemen. And watch what he does. He doesn't run away from people. He doesn't shy away from contact whatsoever, and he breaks a lot of tackles.
Physically tough back. Demonstrated that all year long, but he's faster than the people chasing him, and that's a great advantage.
Now, Oklahoma this year, Coach, they've really blended the run and the passing game well together. Now, Jason White hasn't had to have the big numbers offensively throwing the football, but still he's having a special year.
Well, they've had more snaps under center with the quarterback than they've had in 2 years. You know, they've been a spread offense, and they've changed the playbook. And Jason's not going to have the numbers, as we know, and that's made him a better offensive football team.
Tell you what, that's a great example right there. Peterson bringing a thud. He ran into Colin Allred after hurdling a man. Allred's 250-pound inside linebacker, and he moved him forward.
Right. He's a tough physical specimen for an 18-year-old, isn't he? 6'2", about 215, great speed.
I was saying this to Gary Reasons earlier. Will you tell the story of when you were a recruit Billy Sims out of Hooks, Texas? Because correct me if I'm wrong, you made a call at halftime of the Nebraska game to Billy Sims.
We would leading 30 points at Colorado, so I'd go give Billy a call at C.J. Conoco's service station in I-30 in Hooks, Texas. Talked with Billy's pumping gas that day, and Billy knew I couldn't be talking to anybody else, Gary. Talked to him the whole 15 minutes.
Now, we didn't have cell phones back then, did we, Coach? You had to go get one of those dial-up phones to call that one.
That's right. That's 30 years ago, but I was here 31 years ago. I hadn't been in the stadium in 31 years. I brought a team here. The Sooners played the Bears here, a Big 8 game in 1973. We played Baylor in Southwest Conference.
The tradition at Oklahoma with the national championships, Bud Wilkinson, the 3 national championships, your team's 3 national championships. Coach Stoops now has one under his belt, a chance to get a second one. Talk about the tradition of winning at Oklahoma and really just what it means to the fabric of their football team.
Well, Grant Taff and I were talking about that a minute ago. First of all, you attract athletes like that. You got guys who want to come and play where you got great facilities, and you have 84,000 people in the stands. And, you know, Baylor, it's unfortunate and sad in a way that, you know, they don't have a tradition, a product to sell like Oklahoma does, or Southern Cal, or the schools that do have great facilities and great traditions in college football. It takes winning to do that, and because it takes good athletes to win and be able to produce that product that you have to go out and sell years later.
After that Moses catch, second down and a yard to go. Ewan Jones, J.D. Runnels in the I formation. And Jones will slip to the 2-yard line. First and goal there for Oklahoma. You're around this program. I was going to say, Gary, coached around this program all the time still. Can you compare and contrast this team versus last year, the 2000 national championship?
Oh, I think that last year, you know, it is a different playbook offensively. They don't have the playmakers on defense last year that they had in Strait and Harris and the linebacker Lehman. They had more takeaways and made bigger plays on defense, but they're still a very talented football team. Can run, makes a difference.
Here's Peterson, and he's into the end zone for the 3rd time in this second half.
Pretty impressive guy.
It really is. This young man's done a great job for this football team all season. 10 games now, Coach, over 100 yards of rushing, and didn't get it last week, but he certainly got it again today, over 200 yards rushing today, his 3rd touchdown. The offensive line, they're doing a great job up there, and they've got some seniors up there that really lead the way with Vince Carter, Jamal Brown, and Wes Sims on the other side. So if you got anchors like that, you can do some special things. And I was talking about earlier how impressive it was to change from a passing team to a running team. And had a penalty here on this PAT. Well, you know, to be able to blend those offensive linemen into that type of a style.
You bet it is. That's the toughest thing to do, is make the transition for the offensive linemen, because you know it's so hard to run block, especially teams that throw the ball as much as they have in their spread offense.
Peterson well over 200 yards on the ground. 35-0 Oklahoma. We'll have some Orange Bowl memories when we come back to Waco. Well, let's flash back 1976, New Year's Day. The Oklahoma Sooners and the Michigan Wolverines. Barry Switzer, I imagine you remember this one well.
I remember that 93, Leroy Selman right there. Got the quarterback, and Jimbo Elrod. The other one, 54. There they are right there. Nowhere to run with Big Leroy there.
Big Leroy.
He was pretty good, wasn't he?
First player picked, you got to be good.
Well, we were talking recruiting stories. Billy Sims, tell us about the one you follow, Oklahoma. All the big guys, it was kind of inverted, wasn't it? When you looked at the film from you follow, the little guys were on the offensive line, the big guys were in the backfield.
250-pound fullback and tailback, Dewey and Leroy. You follow 15-0 state champions. You know, we nearly didn't take Lucius, the older brother. You know, he was a 5'11" nose guard, but he looked terrible in defense because he thought he was a Jimmy Brown on offense. And therefore, we nearly turned him down because he didn't play well on defense. So we saw the little brothers, so we knew he needed to recruit them.
Seniors with a 17-play drive that last one.
And a good little move by Parks. And another out to the 29-yard line and advance at 9 yards. All right, Coach, let's go back to 86 in the Orange Bowl. This time you're matching up with Penn State, Jamel Holloway against an old friend, Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson went in the Hall of Fame a couple years ago. Great football player out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Great man, one of my favorite players because of the type of person he is. And had a great career in pro football, Gary, just like you. Played about 10 years. And
played a lot against Keith in the NFL.
He was a good player.
He's got a son who's a sophomore defensive tackle for the Razorbacks now. Mosley spun out of a tackle of Rodney Poole, and he'll get enough for a first down.
Well, Coach, kind of need to ask you here. You've got the scenario here with the 3 unbeaten teams left at the end of the season. Obviously, USC at undefeated, Oklahoma #2, and then Auburn #3. And possibly one of those teams may not get a chance to play for the national championship game. What's your impression of what the current system is with the bowls and the BCS and how that all unfolds?
I've said thank goodness for the BCS, because if you went back to the way it was when I was coaching, it's the mythical national championship. You'd have USC in the Rose Bowl against the Big Ten. We'd go to the Orange Bowl, and Auburn to the Sugar Bowl, and they'd get the best team available in Southern Cal. Wouldn't have either one of us to play. So at least one of us gets a chance to play for the national championship. In the old system, no one would have a chance.
Well, in your opinion, what do you think about some of the strength of schedule things and the competition level? And, you know, for instance, the Pac-10, they don't have the same record or the level of competition, perhaps the strength of schedule that the SEC and the Big 12 have had this year. How much do you think of that has to factor into some of the decision makers?
I don't know what they take into consideration, the pollsters, the human element. You know, they have agendas themselves, and the computer says Oklahoma, because of the strength of schedule, or the wins against opponents are greater for them versus the other two. But you know, it's a situation where it's always the human elements there. And
pretty good run.
Matter of opinions.
Pretty good run from Mosley there. Dan Cody chased him down.
Well, Mosley's going to come through here, and he got a big gap where he just breaks right through the middle of that offensive line, and Dan Cody has to track him down, but a first down for Baylor.
You know, Adrian Peterson's got a chance to get the OU rushing record. If they get the ball, stop him here. With 9 minutes to go in the game, you know, he's only got to get about
single-season rushing record?
Yeah, you bet. Greg Pruitt holds it 292. And I was talking about that earlier in the third quarter. The guy had 200 yards in the third quarter. A chance to go for it.
And Parks runs into gear on Allen. That's the end of that after a couple of yards.
Tackle made by Dante Nicholson.
Barry, for those around the country that haven't kept up with what you're doing lately, what are you doing to keep busy?
Well, I'm retired and live in Norman, Oklahoma. I live right off the campus, University of Oklahoma. I have 6 grandchildren within 2 blocks, and I spend a lot of time with them every day and do different things. I have different investments and just do different things.
You miss game day on the sideline?
Somewhat, but I don't want this 365, 24/7 dealing with 200 athletes anymore. It's tougher game really in the pro game in that aspect of it. You have a different goal and mission as college coach and pro coach.
We'll let you go. We know you have some people to visit with.
I enjoyed it. You guys do a great job.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate you coming by.
You bet. Good to see you
very much.
John.
You bet. That's Coach Barry Switzer. 3rd down and 9 after that tackle by Cody on Mosley.
He's fun to talk to. One of the best in college football all time. No doubt about that.
Well, you can see why, whenever you listen to Barry Switzer, you can see why he was such a great recruiter.
Sure.
Parks in trouble, and he's going to go down for the 7th time today. Jonathan Jackson gets the sack there. He's got a couple today. Burdine's got a couple today. On the season, 36 sacks for the Oklahoma Sooners.
You see the 3 down linemen here. Then you got a couple of guys standing up, and it's the old zone blitz here. You bring one off the outside. That's Dan Cody. And you get Jonathan Jackson here and Burdine just kind of tag teaming. Good coverage in the secondary with good pressure up front. Those things usually make a quarterback have to do something unnatural, and that's what he's having to do. Terrence Parks get out of the pocket, and the Sooners been opportunistic. The 7 sacks on the day.
For the 3rd time, Perkins is back at his own 20. Bob Stoops wanted to rest him on punt return for a couple of weeks till the Big 12 championship game December 4th. But I guess Perkins,
he talked his way into it.
He must be a pretty good debater.
He's got a pretty good resume for a reason to be out there.
Yep. And this is returnable. It's a line drive punt, and well, Perkins slipped down. He was going to field it on a hop. He went down, so it'll roll down at the 12-yard line. A punt of 52 yards for Sepulveda. Back after this, 6:33 to go in the 4th quarter.
I'm a 4-truck man, that's all I drive. I ain't got no boundaries, I don't compromise.
And neither do Texans. That's why they've made Ford F-150 their #1 choice 27 years running.
You can't beat #1, brother.
And you can't beat up to $5,000 cash back on the last of the 04 F-150s. That's up to $5 grand cash.
Ford trucks are the best, hands down.
To get your hands on a new F-150, head down today and find out why.
Ford is the best.
His first pro start for the New York Football Giants. Fox NFL Sunday begins tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 out west in Fox Sports High Definition, only on Fox. New quarterbacks in there, Tommy Grady for Oklahoma. And they go toss sweep on 1st down. So Justin White is done as Tashard Choice. Did I say Justin? Jason White, 19 of 32. A couple of touchdowns. He's now got, check this out, 183 passes, Gary, without throwing a pick.
That's pretty impressive. That's the accuracy he throws the ball. Started out kind of slow today, but really turned it on when he needed to, especially in that long drive to end the second quarter.
Shard Choice. Bounces it outside.
Not Tashard, he's a redshirt freshman, one of those, just a group of backs that Bob Stoops has on his football team. Good to have the talent back there to get him into the football game, and Tommy Grady a chance to play a little bit there. Big kid, he's 6'7", big kid under center. Good presence out there on the football field.
He was a top 5 recruit 2 years ago nationally.
And tower over the whole line there, that's a big quarterback.
Huntington Beach, California. Choice lowers his pad level, and he'll have a couple of yards. Jamal Harper made the tackle. Adrian Peterson, we assume, is done. 240 yards on 32 trips, and for the season, 1,671 yards. He reached 1,000 yards. He tied the record for the fastest freshman to 1,000, held by 2 others, Marshall Faulk and Emmitt Smith. Now, if you're in their company, you're pretty good.
Yeah, really are. And Adrian Peterson showing people today why he is one of the best backs in college football. Young age, as a true freshman coming in, and he's doing a heck of a job this season.
Choice cuts it back. Look at his ability. How many schools would he start for?
Probably a few. You got a lot of talent back there. It's hard to get into the pecking order. First, you got a Kewan Jones, who was firmly in the mix here, and didn't know how the season was going to go with Adrian Peterson, whether Coach Stoops is going to pull the trigger on him. Scare for OU fans early in the season. Back in the preseason camp, he kind of banged his shoulder a little bit. Well, I tell you, there was a sigh of in the big. All the Crimson fans were sighing because he possibly was not going to be able to play, but he has played through that all year and has done a great job.
Marcus Foreman makes the tackle on Choice after a short gain. Clock moving inside with 4:10 left in the 4th quarter.
Take another look here at what Adrian has done. The 32 carries today, 240 yards rushing. I think that's the most rushed against Baylor's defense this year. Single rusher. Pretty good company. This Baylor Bear defense has played some pretty good running backs and pretty good teams, and
they've been on the field quite a bit, particularly in the second half. But give them credit. I know at the end of the day it's going to be a lopsided score, but they played hard and they played with passion. Out to the 41-yard line, it'll set up a 3rd down. Let's check in again with Mike Goldberg on a Dr. Pepper game break. Mike.
Guys, Iowa State trying to come back and position themselves for a Big 12 title showdown against number 2 Oklahoma. Cyclone quarterback Brent Meyer has cut the K-State lead to 7 with about 9 minutes remaining. They trail Kansas State by 7.
Interesting one in Kansas. Colorado looking on, Missouri fans and Nebraska fans as well, who will play Oklahoma on December 4th at Arrowhead Stadium. That's complete for a first down to Choice. Tommy Grady throwing it in the flat. Wendy's High School Heisman program recognizes today's scholar athletes and citizens. Packets have been mailed to over 26,000 public and private high schools. Online nominations being accepted as well. So go to www.wendyshighschoolheisman.com today to nominate your Heisman hopeful of tomorrow. You think Adrian Peterson last year got a few votes?
Might have got a few votes last year and probably going to get a few votes this year. You know, you got the two players back there, Adrian Peterson and Jason White, both of them having great years and possibly a chance for back-to-back Heisman trophies for Jason White. And you know, one thing that really needs to be mentioned is the play of their offensive line and how well they have done. I think that the key for their success is possibly a chance to get those awards. It all starts up front. They've done a great job for them. There's 3 players in particular that I think have got that, and the 3 seniors to the offensive line.
Gary, the first down line is brought to you by Overstock.com. For name brand products at clearance prices, it's all about the O.
The 3 offensive linemen I was talking about are Wes Sims and Vince Carter and Jamal Brown, the 3 seniors up there. They have had a heck of a career. You know, you take last season, combine it with this season. We talked to Coach Switzer about changing methodology from going to basically a pass-oriented offense to a run-style offense with Adrian Peterson, and the success they've had is remarkable. And it's not easy to take those guys and get them in a transition. And I think that they have set the stage for, you know, a chance to get that back-to-back Heisman Trophy and really set the stage for possibly 3 in a row. You know, if Jason were to win it this year, or even Adrian, there's always next year, because Bob Stoops has recruited well, and they have a lot of talent there, and a lot of younger players who are playing in the game right now on the offensive line, getting some game experience that possibly could do some great things. There's never been a team in college football that have had 3 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners on that team from one team. There's been a couple, two guys from the same team who are back-to-back, and Archie Griffin, but never been 3 in a row. But the Sooners, they might have a chance at it.
Well, there's only been 1 repeat guy, and you just mentioned him, Archie Griffin. And White, though he had a slow start, he's going to end up with a couple of touchdown passes. Didn't really hurt himself. DJ Wolf's in there, and he gets knocked off his feet by Jamal Harper. Harper's played an active game defensively. Our Cooper Tires defensive player of the game. We have some choices for Oklahoma. Larry Burdine is the selection with the sacks today. 7 sacks in all by that OU defense. And congratulations to Larry Burdine, a sophomore from Lawton, Oklahoma, with 4.7 speed. Clock moving inside 45 seconds to go. And Baylor calls a timeout. We'll step aside momentarily. Oklahoma, 2nd ranked in the land, leading 35-0.
Nice phone, Tori. Thanks, it's a Kyocera. It's got text messaging, speakerphone, and it's so easy to use.
Doubt it's as easy as mine. I just dictate and it sends a text message. Text Mike. Thanks, Mike. I had fun last night.
Thanks, Mike. I have lip fungus.
I had fun, not lip fungus.
I have fungus. Hot lip fungus.
I don't have lip fungus!
Wireless phones by Kyocera. All the features, none of the hassles.
I do not have a lip fungus.
Let it go.
whatever you're looking for in the 200 horsepower Acura TSX with available satellite navigation.
Our player of the game, offensively, brought to you by Kyocera, Adrian Peterson. 240 yards on the ground. Good portion of that in the second half, and 3 touchdowns. 12 on the season for the fabulous freshman. 42 seconds left. Oklahoma will punt the football. Willie Andrews back at his own 10. Waiting to punt from Blake Ferguson. Great special teams for Oklahoma. Can't forget that. For a Dr. Pepper game break, or actually, excuse me, game summary, Oklahoma had 35-0. The Sooners took over after they were up 14-0 at halftime behind Adrian Peterson, and the defense was everywhere. First Down Line is brought to you by Overstock.com. Save up to 70% every day. It's all about the O.
Well, in Oklahoma, they're all about the D right now. A chance to get a shutout on this season against the Baylor Bears.
It'll be their second. They shut out Texas. I need not remind Sooner fans, 12-0 at the Cotton Bowl. Would have had a shutout last week over Nebraska. Jonathan Golden playing his final football game in green. Early in his career, he played quite a bit. He's a senior from Sugar Land, Texas. 19 seniors saying so long for the Baylor Bears. Guy Morris, you're not going to see it in the win-loss column this year. They had the great win against Texas A&M, but I believe Guy Morris is on the right track here. It's going to take some time, though.
It takes some time. He gets the recruiting process in. He's done a great job as far as getting a little bit of the mindset that you have to play in this conference. And it's a tough one. You play in the South Conference of the Big 12, and you have Oklahoma, Texas A&M. It's a tough road to go up that hill. And Oklahoma State, they're a good football team as well. So not easy. But Bob Stoops now goes 11-0 and chance to win that Big 12 championship again in a couple of weeks. And congratulating Guy Morris on a good football game and a chance to get to his second national championship. But Adrian Peterson, Drew, I think, is a guy who really has come in here in this football game and kind of did some things when Jason White was struggling early. He come out in the second half, and the young man just uses his ability with speed and power and shows why he is one of the best backs in college football and a contender for that Heisman Trophy award, and had a big afternoon against the Bears.
And Oklahoma, in my mind, and I don't want to speak for you, but they didn't hurt themselves in the old BCS, Paul.
I don't think they hurt themselves. I think they actually did what they need to do to get this win. That's the thing that's most important to them, get that win, be a good football team. And we talked about health. Bob Stoops' football team is very healthy right now, and they're going to take that with them both into the Big 12 championship game and then hopefully onto the national championship game if you're a Sooner fan.
All right, let's get Bob Stoops' thoughts with John Radigan. John?
Well, Coach Stoops, obviously whatever you said at halftime seemed to work. It seemed like your team exploded out of the halftime locker room a little bit.
Well, I'd said that going into the half. We were close in the first half with picking up some of the pressure. Trying to overload it, and then we took advantage of that in the second half. And even some of the runs in the first half were very close to breaking. We did in the second half. So we just made some slight adjustments offensively and got in the right plays, and it worked.
How good does it feel to go through another undefeated regular season?
Yeah, that's hopefully it'll be. I appreciate our players, assistant coach is so good, and it's special. It's not easy to do. Not many people have done it, and so we put ourselves in a strong position. We have to finish out here still in a couple of weeks.
You also expressed last week it's not easy to have to run up the score for the BCS and try to be a sportsman too. It seems like you struck a better balance for yourself this week.
Well, for myself, definitely. And listen, none of us want to do that. We're in a bad position, and anyone doesn't express that or doesn't put both arguments out there, it's not being totally fair. So we are in a bad position as coaches right now, the way this is set up.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Congratulations on the undefeated year, and we'll see you in the championship game.
Thank you.
All right, that is Coach Bob Stoops, his team a big victor today. We're going to send you back to the studio. It's Mike Kellen and Billy Ray.
All right, one in the books, and Oklahoma victorious 35-0 at Baylor. College football Saturday post-game report. We are in a triple header mode today, and I'm joined by the Hall of Famers, Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith. Don't forget, we're going to get you caught up on all the action around the nation in just a moment. But first, interesting comments, and it really goes into a basis of what you've been talking about the last few weeks, Kellen. Bob Stoops acknowledging that he doesn't like to be put in this position of a sportsman, or do I run it up to impress the pollsters?
Well, if you have to impress the pollsters by running it up, it's not a good situation to be in. Again, we've moved so far away from the computer analysis because people wanted more human input that we've moved so far to the other side of the equation where we're right back to having the human influence. And it comes down to really a blue state or a red state. How many contacts do you have? Yeah. How many people do you know? How close somebody is, or whether or not you get that first or second or third vote from them.
Well, it's really an anomaly that's going on this year. I mean, when you think about it, how often is a team that plays a conference championship game at the end of the year, how many times is that going to turn out the way it's turning out this year, where there's really no competition from the Big 12 North? You're not going to be impressed by anything that happens in the Big 12 championship game unless the Big 12 North team beats Oklahoma. Now you're going to go, whoa! But, you know, Oklahoma beats Baylor? Okay. Well, Oklahoma beats whoever comes from the Big 12 North? Okay, whatever.
Right now, the potential Big 12 North champion, Iowa State's having trouble beating Kansas State to get themselves to that Big 12 title game. Who will it be? I know one thing. We're going to have a live look in at Iowa State and Kansas State.